What up, though, One Pride? This is the Roar of the Lions UK podcast, a podcast where One Pride goes worldwide. My name is Antony Fitzpatrick. I'm joined this evening by Ryan McCluskey, which can only mean one thing. It is time for your weekly dose of college knowledge. Yes, it is the College Football Podcast. And it's got no snazzy title this week. It is pre-season watch list time. Ryan, we are 9 days away now, 10 days away now from week 0 starting. This time next week we're going to be previewing games. I don't know about you, but this is the point where I start to get a little bit giddy. College football is almost back. It's right on the tip of our tongues, and I don't know about you, but I can't wait.
Yeah, like you say, it's officially here. Weekends are back full of sport now. It's just a straight ride right through college, NFL, and that's it. Like I say, it's the busiest and best time of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's good fun. So, obviously with the season about to start, we have to start putting some of our predictions and players and bits out there. Last week we did our pre-season predictions. If you've not checked that, go check that out. It's where we predict all the title games, playoff teams, all that good sort of stuff there. And this week it is the turn of the players. So pretty much the entire time we've done this pod before the season starts, we provide you a list of players who we really like and guys to watch for as the season goes on, sort of our favourites. And it's up to you whether you do go watch them or not, but for the most part we do sometimes know what we're talking about. We do come up against some interesting people. So we're going to take a look at our 2026 lists today, and we're also going to take a look back at our 2025 ones, because we don't actually do that. We do these lists and then they happen and they forget about them. So we're going to take a look back at how our players did in 2025, and suffice to say, I'm pretty pleased for both of us. If injuries hadn't have happened, we'd have had a damn good year, but it is by the point. As always, thank you to everyone who's joining us this evening. We appreciate you all. If you've got any questions or anything you want to put in, just do it as the show goes on, and we'll find an adequate time at some point to answer them. If we can't do it on the show, of course, we'll go away, we'll research it, we'll come back and put it in a later show. Obviously, with the season just about to start, we are open for bits. If you want to know about position groups, about teams, previews, anything like that you want previewing, then just let us know. We will get it in for you. Alright, let's just get the housekeeping out of the way very quickly and we'll go into this. Road Lines UK Discord, if you want in on that, just let us know. We'll fire you across a link for it. Good place for you to come chat with a ton of other Detroit Lions fans about anything and everything, not just the Lions. College football, news, whatever you want to, it's in there. It's a really good place to be. Main podcast week just gone. Obviously, it's pre-season now for the Lions, so we got to talk some pre-season football, looking back at the Cincinnati Bengals game and more of what's going on in training camp. So if you've not checked that out yet, please do so. Appreciate you for that. We're part of Lions Nation Unite, so don't forget to like them, and obviously don't forget to like and sub to all our stuff, YouTube, Twitch, all that good sort of stuff. We really appreciate everyone who supports us. And we've got the feedback forms, monetized, all that sort of stuff. If you want to help us that way, great. But first and foremost, we just love having you in the building, chatting ball with us. And with that, I think that is all the housekeeping done. Mile Marker is in the building tonight. Hope you're doing well, Mile Marker. He goes, howdy boys. Listening whilst working on items for Friday's summer market, making rugs, woodcraft, and diorama minis. And my neighbours sell woodlog tables and fresh veggies. Local fun. Hey, that sounds quite fun, actually. Summer market. We'd have one over here, but all our veggies have been burnt away because the sun has been so hot recently. Have you had some rain? We finally had some rain and broke our massive ash drought, but we've had to wait for months.
Yeah, we've had a couple of showers last few days. Like I say, it's been pretty overcast and mild temperatures. It's been a nice break, nice relief.
I've been able to put the covers on my bed again and sleep properly. It has been lovely. But people don't want to hear about that. They want to hear about college football. And we've got a little bit of news to go through before we dive down into these teams. And the big news that's come out this week, the NCAA at the centre of all things again, them and their rulings causing mischief here. Obviously, the rulings recently, we talked about eligibility rulings, where players have now 4 years to complete their collegiate careers instead of it's 5 years to complete 4 seasons, and it's now 4 years. And there's been a whole palaver about whether players from 5 years ago can, use their count as eligibility. There's new rules that JUCO seasons don't count against eligibility either, which has kind of thrown the whole thing into confusion. And there's been a big argument breakout, Ryan, this week down at the FCS level, down in the Patriot League, where Villanova season has been thrown into turmoil right before the start of it because their quarterback, Pat McQuaid, I believe it is, he was a guy who benefited from this new eligibility rule. He got the extra year to finish off before these new rules kick in. And they said, after initially denying his eligibility to come back this year, he could come back, and a judge and a court have enforced that rule. But the Patriot League do not agree, and they have barred him from playing in the conference this year, deeming that the original ruling of his ineligibility is more in line with their own rules. And they've told Villanova that with 10 days to go before their opening game against, who are they playing next week? I can't remember. William and Mary, I think it is. They've got to find a new quarterback for the season, which I believe is a ton of freshmen and stuff they've got there. But, we're starting to see the new evolution of this argument now, right? The eligibility rules and that. Conferences are starting to fight back about it. Not teams or players, but a conference has taken a stand on this and has banned a player from playing, even though the courts have said he's eligible. And this feels like it's going to rumble on into something much bigger. But once again, NCAA rules creating chaos right before season begins. This is what college football is about, right?
I think the problem is, though, you make a rod for your own back when you don't just start the rules from now. You shouldn't be backdating it to players that have now got eligibility. They should have said the rules apply from next year, like say, because I've seen players this week, like say, Arkansas's just got an FCS safety. They're just in Tennessee Titans training camp, gone through the NFL process, like say, gone UDFA, taken offers, out of training camp, and has decided you don't think he's going to make it, so they're going to cut him. But like say, because of the new Colorado court ruling, he's now come back to college because he's randomly got a new year of eligibility, and he's transferred to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Great for them, but there is a plethora in the last couple of weeks of players that are in NFL training camps right now, trying to get onto their practice squad, that have now been granted eligibility they didn't believe they had or they wouldn't have had, that are suddenly, despite even though the port or anything, like you say, now coming back to college and signing programs. And I just think we made a huge mess of this. But at the very bottom of it, the baseline, a conference should never be able to overrule the NCAA. The Patriot League has always been funny because, like I say, players at Holy Cross, when they, like I say, not offering like the graduate positions, would always be forced to leave the conference or go to the FBS. They've always been funny, the Patriot League, in that sense about eligibility. And once you get to a certain point in your career, you can't play football anymore. They just don't have a graduate football team. So it's no surprise it's the Patriot League. But yeah, if you're Villanova, I mean, sure, you can go ahead and play him and risk sanctions from the Patriot League, like I say, and then fight out for a later date, or do you sit him, wait to see if they change their mind and throw your season at turmoil? I mean, it's a rock and a hard place.
I believe the Patriot League have said that they'll rule any of their results ineligible if they play him. They'll void them and give automatic wins to the opponents. So it's just so murky. Like you said, you shouldn't be able to backdate these rules. Like kids now that, like you said, are on UDFA, trying to fight for practice
spots.
Over.
Your career's over.
Yeah,
it's in the NFL right now.
Yeah, exactly. But if, some kids who are going, I'm struggling to make it this year, let's go back to college for a year and have another go at the draft next year with an extra year of college football behind me. It's just one big mess, but it's not good for Villanova. Villanova are a team who always going for the playoffs and to lose your quarterback right on the edge of the season because your conference overrule a court is nuts. But I think the NCAA, they've brought a rod for their own back, as you say here, and it's crazy. But yeah, that is what's going on there at the minute. It's all crazy. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? This thing's going to get fought out until next Friday when their first game happens. So we'll keep a close eye on what is going on there. Just another little bit of news which regards to the NFL draft. One of the top 5 prospects for next year, Trevor Gooseby, the Texas left tackle, has sustained a knee injury pre-season. He has been diagnosed with a bone bruise. Now, depending on what you believe with bone bruises and that, they've not said the severity yet. It can be up to a 3 or 4 month recovery period if it's really bad. It could be 2 or 3 weeks if it's not too bad. But if it's on the more serious side, 3 to 4 months pretty much ruins your season at this point, Ryan. You would figure he's probably going to come back next year because I believe he is only a true junior this year, if I'm right. So he's plenty eligibility-wise, but obviously big blow for Texas right on the start of the season. That star-studded team, ton of NIL there, top 5 draft pick there, potentially, if he has a good year, already hurt. Just hoping for him that it's not too bad of a bone bruise.
Yeah, it's one of those injuries where it's impossible to put a timeline on it. You can't put a scale on it. You just got to see how he feels. So realistically, they've got no way of knowing what they're going to do. Like my year, where if he misses in months, like I say, he can still lock up a top 5, top 10 draft pick. But if he starts getting to the second half of the season, he's still groggy, then yeah, he's more than likely going to return for his senior year because he could lose millions and slide potentially into late first round potential if he sat out this season and then declared. So it throws a huge spanner into the works for a Texas team that I predicted to make a national title game. And when their left tackle goes down with injury, that feels like that's very on brand for ROTL.
Yes, so Longhorns fans, it's all Ryan's fault. You can blame him for betting big on your team there. Right, and then other just quickly stuff to mention. Uniforms. We were talking uniforms last week. There are some good ones coming out for this year after a down year, and we've had a spate of camo uniforms coming out this week. Texas A&M with their white camos, NC State with their black camo as well, and then the Nightlights of Nebraska, the black ones with the sort of chrome red on them. There are some banging unis coming out this year. I'm looking forward to seeing some of these, but especially these camo ones. I think it's a specific partnership, isn't it? All these camo ones, they're partnered. Is it Adidas who's doing it or something like that? But yeah, there's some banging uniforms coming out at the beginning of this season.
I don't like camouflage.
Oh, really?
Camouflage is so out. That's such like a 2020 thing, late 2010s. Like I thought we got past that. The digital camo. I hate the A&M ones when they're ugly. I like the NC State because I like the black, the grey, the red. Like I say, that's fine. Like you say, that works for me. Nebraska ones, yeah. I mean, it's funny that the quote or the decal on a helmet says something like a tradition of winning or knowing all about winning. Winning what? What do they because they have a tradition of winning, and it's not football games in the last couple of years. Very nice, and they're going to look great whenever they win, whenever they wear them. So if they get hammered by them, like I say, at least they'll go out and start looking good. But yeah, the first 2 weeks before the season are always good because, like I say, the manufacturers with their new patches, their new logo sponsorships are firing out the uniforms now. We're getting a treasure trove of them.
We are. So hopefully we get some good
Arizona
ones.
State have done their 1986, I think it is, their old Rose Bowl. They've redone them. Very classic, but they've reworked an old school one.
What do they call it? Devils and Roses or something like that, is it?
It's the year they won the Rose Bowl, which I think was the mid-80s.
I wondered why, because I'm like, what did Devils and Roses have to do together? But that makes sense now, so I wasn't sure, so... Okay, that's fair. But like you say, they're very bland, Arizona State. They just keep it traditional, don't they? There's no camo there, no chrome, no nothing fancy.
We had Desert Storm a couple of years ago. We've had the camo. We had lots of wild ones back then. But yeah, very traditional now.
Yeah, the Big 12 is quite traditional. I feel like a lot of them are just quite bog standard in the Big 12. Like, that's proper football country. Don't mess with the unis, just have your traditional old school stuff, and it is great. Anywho, enough of the uni talk. We'll move on, and we'll get on to what we're here to chat about this evening.
The Washington ones, I like the Washington Dogs uniforms.
Oh, yeah, that's actually, yeah.
Purple and gold never fails.
Yeah.
My favourite college football colour is purple.
Yeah.
All purple football teams look good. More soccer teams should wear purple and pink.
Yeah, I agree. TCU always look good. I think Western Carolina, they're purple. Central Arkansas, purple.
TCU, all teams always look good in purple.
All teams look good in purple. There we go. Right, as I say, we'll move on to our main point of the evening now, which is to reveal our pre-season watch list teams. So these are teams which are created by us two, compiled of players who pretty much are our favourite players in college football, guys we like, guys we're intrigued by, guys we want you to know about, and just throwing you some good pointers out there. Just showing you our favourite, and they're not too bad. So, as I say, we do this every year. For the first time this year, we're actually going to go back and look at last year's teams. And we're going to do that first. We're going to see how our teams did last year before we're revealing who we've got this year. So, I'm just quickly going to get it. So, I'm going to have the lists fully revealed. We're not going to do anything there. And I've written some notes down about how the guys got on. And then we'll move it on to our 2026 one, so just bear with me a minute here while we do the whole the left monitor, and then hopefully you can see it here. These are our preseason watch list players from 2025, so just going through them. We can do position by position here. Obviously I do a full 22. Ryan does less. He does less guys, but he's better with his, so his list is better than mine. But as you can see, quarterbacks we picked out for you to watch last year. Rocco Becht, the Bechticle out of Iowa State, was my pick, and then on Ryan's side, Aiden Bauman of South Dakota, and what a good year he had. Aiden Bauman ended up throwing for 2,876 yards, 26 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, and he broke a whole lot of South Dakota Coyotes records last year. He is now all-time leader in passing yards, pass completions, pass attempts, and he also broke the Division I FCS record of 46 starts on the same team. No player has ever played that many games for a single team before at the FCS level. 46. He is a Coyote through and through. And then in the Bechticle's case, good start to the year, but the Iowa State team tailed off bad towards the end. He threw for just shy of 2,600 yards, 16 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, but then obviously the big moves at the end of the year when Matt Campbell upsticked and went to Penn State. Rocco Becht is going to be the new starting quarterback at Penn State this season, so technically a promotion for him after having probably his worst year at this point, but he's still a very good quarterback in my eyes there. But Bauman there, doing everything and more you wanted from him. He's unfortunately not taken up with an NFL team as of yet, probably going to go the CFL route, but all-time leader for the Coyotes. That wasn't a bad shout from yourself.
No, I mean the Coyotes, they have, they've failed to live up to their neighbours in recent years. That's pretty hard to do in the Dakotas, but he's been an incredibly successful history-making QB there. Finished out, went on a high, ended in a defeat, unfortunately, in the playoffs. But an FCS legend in his own right, and it would not surprise me to see him in probably this time next year, CFL, more like XFL or an arena league, indoor quarterback, or even in Europe. Because in the strangest season ever, I've watched Ethan Garbers and Zach Calzada play for Frankfurt. Two very massive Europe QBs, playing in a very poor European league and not earning much money. So it would not surprise me to see him venture over the pond this time of the year.
I'd argue he's probably better than those two aforementioned quarterbacks as well, so maybe he could provide a shot in the arm for a European team over there. But those were the quarterbacks, so we did all right there. In terms of running backs, I had 2. Ryan had 1. Unfortunately for Ryan, Dawson Pendergrass got hurt in the preseason and didn't take a single snap last year. So unfortunately that happens with some of these picks. He's still very young. He's going to be playing for Baylor again this year, but it didn't quite get going. Running backs, on the other hand, was a big success story for me last year. Hollywood Smothers, my NC State running back, now turned traitor. 160 carries for 939 yards and 6 touchdowns at 6 yards per carry. Tacked on 37 receptions for 189 yards and a receiving touchdown as well. So over 1,100 all-purpose yards for him and 7 touchdowns, and transferred that into a big move to Texas at the end of the season with Raleek Brown and co there. Hollywood Smothers, great season for him. Hollywood by name, Hollywood by nature, big home run hitter. He's going to cause all sorts of problems for the SEC in that offense there. And then I had Cam Edwards from UConn, and what a season he had for the Huskies in the last year of Jim Mora. 209 carries, 1,226 yards, and 15 touchdowns at 6 yards per carry. So both my guys went over 6 yards per carry. He had 19 catches for 187 yards and an additional touchdown as well. So 1,400 all-purpose yards and 16 touchdowns for Cam Edwards, and he also translated that into a move up to the Power 4, or, well, Hollywood Smothers moved within the Power 4. Cam Edwards has gone to Michigan State this year. Hell of a coup for them to get one of the best running backs outside of the Power 4, and yeah, those two just absolutely knocked it out of the park. So, running back-wise, I had a really good year last year, and I'm proud of that one. So, there we go. But then we move on to the receivers, and me and Ryan had a pair each here, and you know, it wasn't too bad on my side. Chase Sowell, 32 catches for 501 yards and 2 touchdowns. The East Carolina transfer moved over to Iowa State, but as mentioned, Iowa State had a bit of a rough year. He took a bit of time to get going, but eventually looked pretty decent, and he's followed Rocco Beck to Penn State, so another transfer upwards for Sowell. Even if he didn't get the yards I might thought he did. But Lewis Bond had a great season for Boston College, the Boston College slot receiver. 88 catches for 993 yards. Just 1 touchdown, which was a really odd stat for him. But he translated that into an NFL draft pick. He went in round 6. So both the guys got over 500 yards. 120 catches between them. So we didn't do too bad there. But then we move over to Ryan's side of it, and he had Reggie Virgil of Texas Tech and Marquise Buchanan of Rhode Island. Reggie Virgil, 57 catches for 705 yards and 6 touchdowns on that Texas Tech juggernaut. Translated that into a 5th round draft pick. But Marquise Buchanan, wow, 78 catches for 1,336 yards and 7 touchdowns. He had the most receiving yards of any receiver in the FCS last year, and his career now in 3 years at Rhode Island, he has over 3,100 receiving yards, and he's got another year to go. I mean, given Reggie Virgil, right, was a group of 5 transfer to a big school in Texas Tech, and you got an FCS guy in here, you nailed these receiver picks.
Yeah, like I say, I saw. I mean, I like FCS receivers, and well, a trend will continue. But I said Reggie Virgil, yeah, I liked him in the group of 5. I saw the big need at Texas Tech. Like saying he's landed himself on a roster. Is he in the Dolphins?
Believe so, yes.
Yeah, he's got a chance to make that roster as well. Like I say, he's a big-bodied outside receiver. Had landed on a team full of transfers at just the right time, and they made the most of him. Yeah, but yeah, 2 great guys that had phenomenal years, and 2 guys that I'd expect, like I say, this time of the year. I'm sure Marquise will no doubt be getting tons of NFL interest with such a supreme resume behind his belt.
I'm shocked they hung on to him. Like, after that year, you thought...
I'm amazed he hadn't gone to the FBS.
Yeah, like, you know, he's got over 3,000 yards there at Rhode Island. I've got to assume their receiving record's under threat if he's not already beaten that. But Yeah, that was nuts. Virgil's at the Cardinals, sorry, by the way, so there's every chance he's going to make that roster this year, because that's a gash roster. But yeah, so good. Considering there were 2 Group of 5 transfers up to the Power 4 there, Lewis Bond wasn't really well heralded, and an FCS receiver. We did pretty well with our receiver picks last year, so classing that as a win on both sides. When it comes to tight ends, Tanner Koziol from Houston was my pick, and I just loved him all season long. 74 catches for 727 yards and 6 touchdowns. He had just 2 drops all season on about 120 targets. He translated that into a round 5 pick. He's now in the NFL. Again, another Group of 5 to Power 4 transfer. And Ryan had Alex Bauman, the Miami tight end, another transfer up from the Group of 5, I believe he was in beforehand. Got to the Natty achieving Miami team. Didn't do much as a receiver, but he was a primary blocking tight end for them. Got all the way to the Natty there, so not the fancy receiving numbers there, but we got 1 good blocker, 1 good receiver. Again, I think we've done pretty well there, Ryan.
Yeah, like you say, he played his part blocking for the likes of Mark Fletcher and receivers. He did his job there, and left with a ring. I'm gonna guess must be UDFA now. I'm pretty sure he graduated with Miami.
He graduated, yeah. So I think I think he bounced around between a few.
And of course, like I say, strong draft pick as a potential receiving threat. Has got a good chance on the right team in the NFL to make an impact in the red zone as a rookie.
Absolutely, considering he had just 1 year in the Power, that was a big move up for him. So yeah, he did incredibly well there. In terms of the offensive linemen, I did the offensive line last year, so I had a few different ones. So Connor Lew, the center out of Auburn, he was having a really good season, gave up just 2 sacks on 244 pass protection reps, cementing himself as the best center in the nation, and then obviously got hurt towards the end of the season, but he still translated it into a day 2 pick in the NFL. He's going to get stashed. You'll probably see him either later this year, or I would probably assume this time next year, but he was playing up to his potential before the injury happened there. Kalen Rutledge at guard, the Georgia Tech guard, he didn't give up a single sack all season. 440 pass protection reps, translated into a first round NFL first round NFL draft pick. I am well happy with that, because he was not in this conversation. He was not anywhere near in this conversation at the beginning of last year. I liked Kalen Rutledge because he was a very good guard, but he wasn't in first round conversation. So, one of the picks that we landed on, really good there. I was quite happy with that one. And then the other guard, Daniel King at UNC, he was a Troy transfer. So again, another Group of 5 transfer up to the Power 4. Played the full season at right guard, gave up just 2 sacks on 426 reps, did well in the run game on a bad UNC team, but for his last year, he played really well, did what he could, and again, sort of Bill's first year was a bit of a nightmare, but considering he was a Group of 5 transfer, he held up his part of the bargain really good. Lawan Owens, the California tackle, had a big year at New Mexico in 2024, went up to Cal and flamed out. He played 7 snaps for the team, and he's transferred to Central Arkansas now. So, yeah, that was a bit of a bad pick. That one was. I'm kind of really shocked that he didn't take on there, and I'm kind of shocked he's gone so far down the pyramid, because he's shown he can play at the Group of 5 level, but he's gone all the way down to the FCS. So, watch for Lawan Owens this year at Central Arkansas. Could be one of the best offensive linemen in the FCS. Period. But yeah, we didn't do well on that, or I didn't do well on that one. And then finishing it off with Caleb Tiernan, been obsessed with him for years. 3rd round pick in the NFL draft, had an 84 pass grade last year. Had a really good year apart from one really awful game against Illinois. But he's in the NFL now. He's going to be taking NFL starting reps. So we did good on that one. So overall, the offensive line was pretty good. Just Lawan Owens really letting the team down there. But that happens with some of these. You're not going to get every pick right. So, overall, though, offensively, It's mainly injuries that have kept this group from being really good and from us hitting on nearly everyone. It's just one guy we didn't, so there we go. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball. Ryan, on his defensive line, he loves his Iowa guys, and he picked Aaron Graves out of Iowa, and he ended up having a really good year. 5 sacks, 22 quarterback pressures. He even managed to snag an interception, and kind of, again, Rye just stuck on a team that offensively didn't provide them any sort of balance on there, but he played really well and had a good year.
Yeah, as an interior pass rushing defensive tackle, he showed good ability to get to the quarterback, able to drop into coverage, use that big, nice frame, snag the interception, worked on getting his hands up in passing lanes, and was a pretty disruptive force on that defensive line from inside working out. So, yeah, he had a good thing, and I do like him. Incredibly solid in the run game, has worked very hard to improve his pass rush abilities and show he's not a one-trick pony. So, really good year for him to build on there, yeah.
He did indeed. I had 3 guys on the defensive line, starting with Mikhail Camara. He was my favourite for years. Went on to win a natty with Indiana. 60 quarterback pressures on the year. Part of the best defensive line in the country, period. No one had it better than Indiana did. Didn't translate it into as many sacks as usual, but the run defense got better. His overall game got much better, and he's now in the NFL with the San Francisco 49ers, although he's hurt, and he's going to miss this year, which is a massive shame for him, but absolutely fulfilled all his potential from being the promising young guy at James Madison who started following to end up being a natty champion. He was absolutely worth one of these picks. Next up, we had Antony Smith, the Minnesota edge, and I mean, no one talks about him. He had a 14-sack season last year. That was joint second in the FBS. Only David Bailey had a better year than him at the power level, and he was getting first round talk last year. He's chosen to go back for another season, but he absolutely slayed the Big Ten last year, and they've got a better defensive line this year. He's got more help, so he could potentially go nuts this year and put up another 14, 15 sacks, but absolutely landed with that one. And then finally, Gabe Kirsch, the Wake Forest edge. He was a transfer from Colorado State, so another group of 5 transfer we had here. Wake Forest had a rough year. He didn't do too bad. 4 sacks, steady season overall, decent against the run. I believe he's got another season there this year, so we'll probably see the best of him, but yeah, just kind of steady. Didn't have maybe the massive impact I thought he would there, but I think overall that defensive line was pretty good, and it had a natty winner on it as well. Moving on to the linebackers and the outside linebackers, and well, this is where Ryan came into his absolute wheelhouse. Unfortunately, Yanni Karlaftis got injured early in the year, missed most of last season with Northwestern. I think it was week 5. He got injured on kick coverage. He'd been injured the week before and missed most of that game as well, so just never got going, and a big shame for him. But the other 2, Andrew Zock, who was a true freshman when he made this pick last year. He was a true sophomore last year when he made this pick. What a season Andrew Zock had. He won the Buck Buchanan Award for Best Defensive Player in the FCS. 56 quarterback pressures, 11 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 2 battered passes, a run defense grade up at 90, and translated all of that wonderful season into a huge move to Toledo, which has recently sent defensive linemen into the NFL at a very high level, not day 3 picks, day 1 and day 2 picks. And then you've got Ty Niekamp, the Illinois State linebacker, and that wasn't just any better. He was an FCS champion, Illinois State, beating North Dakota State on the way through the playoffs, made it the entire way. He is an FCS champion. He was the Missouri Valley Football Conference Defensive Player of the Year, and he led the FCS in tackles with 160 tackles on the year. I mean, a shame about Yanni, Ryan, but you nailed completely those two FCS picks. I don't even think you thought Andrew Zock could be that good last year, but 20 sacks through 2 years, he's only a true junior. The sky's the limit for him, and Ty Niekamp still has another year as well. He's coming to the draft next season. They were amazing.
Yeah, that Mercer defense. I didn't expect Mercer in general to be that good last year, but led by that defense, led by him, they made a playoff run. And the Mercer Bears, their defense was like top 5 in the nation. Like I say, he was rightly so best player in the country. And more than effort earned, like say, that big G5 move. I can't wait to see what he can do at Toledo. I think he can take everything he's learned and terrorise the MAC this year. And if he does, he will absolutely have his name called this time in 12 months. And then, yeah, call national champion. I think he only fell short of the most tackles in a season in FCS history by like 8 or 9. Like I said, the record's like 169 tackles in a year, so he came so close to that. Ever present on a team that shocked the nation. Nobody had the Redbirds winning the national title last year, let alone me. And he played every snap on defense and led them there and was one of the true proper guys that led from the front, yeah. And now they're looking to defend their crown when he comes back. So 2 players that have very much got their eyes set on one route or another. Late day 3 picks, so UDFA are eyeing up spots on a 92-man rosters next year. So seeing how they both do is going to be very interesting this year. But definitely late round flyers to watch that are going to try becoming out household names.
Oh yeah, I mean, Zock's still got 2 years, depending if he wants to go up to the power level after a year, and who knows, if he keeps carrying on the way he does, he will. I'm surprised Illinois State kept Niekamp, but I guess if you win the championship with him, you want to stay there, finish your career, so... But yeah, absolutely nailed it with those two. On my side of the board, injuries really destroyed me. Kyle Louis of Pittsburgh, I just spoke about him all last year in general, had a really good year for the Pittsburgh Panthers. You know, the star linebacker type, can rush a little, can drop in coverage, built like a safety, but plays really well at middle linebacker. Fell in the draft for some reason, but he was a 4th round pick overall. The Miami Dolphins have got their hands on him, and I expect him to be absolutely phenomenal for them. Had a great season, so completely justified for the pick here. He did really well. Unfortunately, the other two, Tariq Al-Ukdar, started off really well his first 2 weeks with Washington. He moved Apple Cup lines. He'd moved from Washington State to Washington. And then in week 3, when the Apple Cup was getting played, he tore his ACL, which knocked him out for the year. And, you know, he'd had a good first couple of weeks with Washington. So, unfortunately, we didn't get to see him realise his potential there. But he's healthy. He's going back this year. And on a Washington team that, you know, it's got some really good pieces this year. So, hopefully this year, we'll see what I was hoping from him last year. So, yeah, Al-Ukdar was knocked out in week 3, and then Colby Fields, the Louisiana Tech linebacker, who I absolutely adore, he was on his way to having a monster season, but he got hurt in week 4, missed the rest of the year. He'd already, from his linebacker position, he'd got 2 interceptions, multiple sacks, a whole bunch of tackles. He's just laid siege to wherever he's played against. The USA just couldn't handle him. The former LSU Comet, he is so good. He is much better than the level Louisiana Tech play at, and unfortunately injury banjaxed him, but he's still got eligibility. He's back this year. They're in the Sun Belt, so they're in a better group conference this year. So if he can get healthy again, hopefully he's going to have the season I expected him to have last year. But yeah, 2 very promising seasons cut short by injury kind of ruined those picks for me. Moving on to the corners. On Ryan's side, he had Takario Davis out of Washington and Jalen Jones out of William and Mary. Now, Takario only played about half a season. He had some injury concerns, but still got 2 interceptions, 4 pass breakups, had a sub-50 NFL passer rating against him, so really good in coverage. Obviously, bigger guy at 6'3", 6'4". Translated that into a 3rd round pick despite getting hurt. And then Jalen Jones had a really nice year with William and Mary. Another FCS one there. 2 interceptions, 3 pass breakups. Run defense graded over 75. He finished 2nd in William and Mary history in terms of pass breakups. He had 51 in his career there. I think it was 8 interceptions and 43 PBUs, so a very successful career there for him. He's not in the NFL at this point currently though, but Tucario is right, and without the injuries he'd probably have gone a lot higher, but he did well in the limited time he had.
Yeah, like I say, I think the big NFL frame, the big hands, the long range success over the career, it carried him well and it saved a bit of his draft stock. But yeah, if he can keep it together and stay healthy, like you say, he's got a good chance of at least making a practice squad and clinging around on an NFL roster because he's got the stuff he can't teach. There is a potential NFL corner there in a zone heavy scheme or, like I say, man heavy scheme, whichever you think his body attains most to. But there's definitely a chance there for an older guy, which he is. He's got a lot of experience though.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we'll see how he gets on. On my side of the pond, cheek, wink, wink. D'Angelo Ponce, the Indiana corner. I called him the best coverage corner in the country this time 12 months ago, and I think he proved himself as the best coverage corner in the country last year on his way to a national title. He was a second-round pick to the New York Jets, just narrowly missed out on being a first-round pick. If he'd have been an inch or two higher, he'd have been a first-round pick, but just absolutely sensational for the Hoosiers last year, and they are going to miss him incredibly. And then the other one I had was Amarian Fortenberry, so the true freshman out of South Alabama, got himself a big move to Kansas State. Didn't work for him though. Played about 100 snaps on the year, wasn't able to break into that team, as sometimes happens with group of transfers up. He has gone to USF this year. He's with Brian Hartline and that South Florida team now, so I'm predicting he's going to have a massive bounce back on what is going to be a team where he's going to be playing every snap. So yeah, hit on one, missed on another there with the corners. And then moving on to the safeties and DBs in general, Ryan had just one, and unfortunately again, right, was injury did for you. Xavier Alford, the Arizona State safety, he was hurt in preseason, tried playing through it the first 2 weeks, clearly not healthy, and missed the rest of the year, which was sad for Arizona State because they ended up really missing him.
Yeah, big loss, like I say, because they lost Shamari the year before to graduation. Alford, great player. Like you say, it was a big position of need and went down. And yeah, they had some big holes in their secondary last year. And yeah, he would have definitely helped later on in the season where fatigue caught up with them. Like you say, I always thought as well he had a chance at making an NFL roster if he did have a good season behind him. But unfortunately, that kind of fell away from there. But very talented player. Like you say, he's got a chance to, like you say, maybe work his way back into some sort of a rotation or pick up by a squad some point in this year.
Yeah, I think he's healthy now, so you'll probably see him in a spring league or something, and then maybe trying again the next year. But overall, your list there, I mean, Xavier Alford was out for the year, Pendergrass was out for the year, Carl Aftis missed most of it. Outside of that, you've pretty much hit on everybody, so I think you should be pretty proud of your list there. You did pretty good.
Yeah, like I say, the defense went pretty well. A lot of them stayed healthy, and I was very happy to see a lot of them contribute. So not too bad. Like I say, it's good to see. Like I say, when you pick, especially like I say, the small guys, and they just happen to hit.
Oh, you've smashed the FCS picks. Literally, you picked the leading receiver in the country, an all-conference defensive player of the year, and the literal Buck Buchanan winner. So you've done pretty damn good there. In terms of my safeties, I had Kaj Sanders, the sophomore safety out of Rutgers, but he had a rough year, graded out at 45 overall. No interceptions, very little productivity for him, but I'm wondering if it's a productivity of that Rutgers team taking a massive step backwards. He's only a junior this year, so it's only his third year. He's still on the Rutgers program, so hopefully a big bounce back year for him, but didn't quite work out last year. But Rutgers as a whole were not that great. But Jamali Riddle, the East Carolina safety, he was a true sophomore going into last season, had a big true freshman year for the Pirates, which put me onto him. And he had a really good true sophomore year. 3 interceptions, another 3 pass breakups, part of that Pirates team who got a lot better as the season went on. Did threaten to flirt with the American title game, but 2 really good seasons for him. And he got a massive transfer at the end of the year. He got picked up by Georgia, and he'll be potentially get the opportunity to play next to the likes of KJ Bolden and whatnot this year. But he did get arrested over the summer. I'm not sure what's exactly happened with that, but most Georgia players get arrested at this point, so it is what it is. But I mean, huge move for him. I didn't think he'd get a move that big. I knew he'd go to the Power Conference with another year, but Georgia picking him up just shows how highly they think of him. And he's still got 2 years of eligibility left, so he can sit a year and wait for KJ Bolden to declare next year and then be their next big thing after. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in Georgia colours. So got Jamali Riddle there. And then I finished off with a DB, another NC State traitor, Bishop Fitzgerald, and slam dunked this one. He had a right year with USC. 5 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, absolutely phenomenal in coverage, good against the run. Had a really awesome season and then didn't get drafted. That was one of the most befuddling omissions ever. He was productive at NC State. He was uber productive at USC. I don't know how he didn't get drafted, Ryan, but, hell of a ball hawk at safety.
Yeah, had a tremendous year. Like you say, was so important to what the Trojans were trying to do on the back end. He closed out some of those really big games of interceptions. And I was quite bizarre to not hear his name called. Like I said, despite having production across multiple schools, he's got decent size. Like I say, has a good character behind him. There was no obvious flaws. But yeah, like I say, went and called, like I say, and landed on the Titans. I mean, you look at their roster, kind of like got a perfect chance to make that team. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Like you say, plenty of holes there, and he should be able to catch on and hopefully produce as a rookie.
Yeah, one would hope so. Yeah, those are the teams from 2025. I'm just going to quickly come back across and make sure I've not missed any comments or anything. Grandizer is in the building. He goes, hilly ho, lads, hilly ho. He goes, don't forget Hank's list too. I don't see it up there. Everyone he had on his list got drafted. Hank would probably talent evaluate better than us, but it is what it is. But I'm sure he's knocking round somewhere. Probably out the sunshine. It's been very hot over here, Grandizer. It's not been pleasant for animals, but that was our 2025 list. So, you feeling confident this year? How before we release, how confident you feeling this year? Because you had a good year last year. You've got stakes to live up to now. You did better than me.
Yeah, I've got some names here that should get the business done. I think there's guys here that will definitely be in the league in 12 months' time.
I'm hoping so as well. I have admitted some of my uber favourites from this because I talk about them all the time. So I've kind of gone towards guys I like who people might not know about as much. And I've got a guy who's not taken a single snap in college football yet because he's only just arrived. So I've got a brand new true freshman who ain't seen the field yet. So without further ado, let's crack on with it. So let me get back into where we were. So those are the lists there. This is this year's lists. I've got my full 22 again. Ryan has got his list. You can see the lists there. It puts you up there. So we both do have quarterbacks. So with that, hang on. I'm trying to figure out who Ryan's is going to be. I'm going to say, is this quarterback transferred from the FCS to the FBS this year?
No, he's still there.
Oh, I was sure it'd be Caden Pinnock. I'm intrigued. Okay, you go first. Who have you got at quarterback for your player to watch for the 2026 season?
This quarterback is one of the best returning quarterbacks in all of football, all of D1. Kialia Ayat, the Montana Grizz quarterback. Like I say, the native Hawaiian 6'1", 210 pounds, the senior. Last season, threw for 4,070 yards, 33 touchdowns, and also had 8 rushing touchdowns on the year. Was one of the most productive QBs in all of football, and enters this year in top 10 in career touchdowns, in career passing yards. Also holds a .67 career passing percentage grade, which also ranks in top 10. He's made 21 starts, and he's now 17-4 as a starter. If he goes all out this year and wins 12 games, he will become one of the top 5 winning most QBs in Montana Grizz history. And this kid, what's funny is, I mean, he's got big things to live up to. His dad, Brian Ayat, is a Grizzly Sports Hall of Fame quarterback and former All-American. So he's trying to pass his dad's record if he can win 12 games this season and also go down in history. The Grizz have fallen short in recent years, but not because of this man. One of the most productive QBs in the nation, dual threat of his legs, great size, over 6 foot, and has got an absolute cannon of an arm. He's going to put up some ridiculous numbers this year, and I guarantee, like say Jack Strand, a D3 quarterback, is currently, I think, on the Falcons roster. This man will be drafted, and he will be a QB2 or a QB3. He will be playing the NFL in preseason next year. I will stake my whole reputation on that. He will be live on TV in 12 months' time.
Ryan absolutely ambushing me with a name there for me to try and write out right off the gate, because I should have written these down beforehand. But yeah, so Kialia Ayat, is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Grandizer loves weird names, and so Grandizer will love that one. He'll want us to talk about him all season just to try.
I don't like Dragon Ball Z. He went to Kamehameha High School.
God. Oh, there we go. So, starting off there with Kialia Ayat, the Montana Grizz quarterback. In my case, we are starting with a guy who I have enjoyed watching for the last few years, and he's at his second year at a big program now, and that is Devon Dampier, the quarterback for the Utah Utes, formerly of New Mexico 2 years ago. Had his first year last year with Utah. Ended up doing the business for the Utes, even if they didn't have anything in the title game. But over 3 years, started off at New Mexico as a freshman. He's a senior this year, so this is going to be his last year. He's thrown in his career 5,783 yards, just a smidge under 61% completion for 42 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. But last year improved dramatically. So with New Mexico in 2024, he threw 12 touchdowns to 12 interceptions, literally 1-to-1, threw for nearly 3,000 yards, but very gung-ho with the football. Last year with Utah, his completion percentage went up a full 5%, threw for 2,500 yards, 24 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. So going from 1-to-1 to 5-to-1 in 1 year, showing that ball security. And he's a dual threat quarterback as well. He's got 2,329 yards on the ground and 33 rushing touchdowns. He is a legitimate dual threat quarterback, a little bit on the smaller side. He's 5'11", but he can scamper with the best of them. That arm is getting better. Utah teaching him how to play properly, pro style, in structure. The accuracy is getting better. The arm's getting better. Cutting down on the turnovers. I'm really looking forward to seeing what he does in his 2026 year here. But Dampier is... You're not hearing him amongst the top... Because there's so many high-name quarterbacks next year in the draft who could potentially be that good. You're not going to hear Dampier's name at all. But I don't know, right? I think his dual threat ability, if he carries on going the way he is, there's a position for him in the NFL. And if Utah get back into championship contention this year, I don't see no reason why he's not in that conversation.
Yeah, like I said, I'm high on the Utes this year. I liked the move. Good transfer. A great offense for him. He's great through the air. Also can get it done with his legs. Like I say, it's a program that has got the ability to take his skill set, translate it into big games, championship games, Holy War, where he can go on big TV national games, show what he can do. Has got a real chance to take that skill set and hopefully turn it into a mid-round or late-round selection, and hopefully, like I say, try and make an impact and get picked up by an NFL roster. So I think he's a big name to watch this year. He had a good first year last year. I enjoyed watching him. Utah were fun to watch. He brings a bit of excitement to their offense, and I'm glad to see what he's going to do in year 2 of that system.
Absolutely, I am as well. So 2 very good quarterbacks to start us off there who we have high hopes for. Moving on to the running backs, I've got 2 Ryan's got one, so I'm going to start this one off. And I'm going to start with a returner. I am riding and dying all the way with him. I've got Cam Edwards. I love my Yukon prospects. People know I do. And, he just proved me so right last year with a 1,400-yard season. He's not with Yukon anymore, is he? He's with Michigan State. And one thing Michigan State can get right, they're useless with quarterbacks, they're useless with receivers, they're useless with offensive linemen. They're pretty good when it comes to running backs, but, good mileage in his career, 480 carries, 2,690 yards, going at over 5.5 yards a carry over his career, 27 touchdowns, got 500 receiving yards and 4 touchdowns as well, so he is a dual threat back. He is exactly what Michigan State need. I mean, when he started, he was on the Yukon team, still rebuilding itself under Mora. It wasn't the easiest place to play. It was a bit of a bad side. The steal that he brought to that rushing offense, if he'd have stayed there, he'd have been one of the best rushers in Yukon history. Statistically, he is tough. He is hard to bring down, can just run through contact for days, but he's also got a little bit of finesse about him as well. He is the ultimate dual threat running back, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Big Ten, because running backs thrive all over the Big Ten, no matter whether teams are good or bad. The opportunities are there. He was in my team last year. I've got him again. Some guys just stick with you, but I fully expect him to be in conversation for one of the better running back prospects in next year's draft, provided he stays healthy. Obviously, he will have a lot of mileage on the clock, but that works for and against, and hopefully Michigan State going to have a better year. Pat Fitzgerald's there now. That should work in his favour. So, yeah, Cam Edwards, got him for the either second or third year in a row. I've had him in quite a few of my teams now. Ride or die through college. Who do you have as your running back, Ryan?
I've got a player that I've never seen before, and probably no one's ever watched before. I've got TJ Lane. Now he's the running back for the West Florida Argonauts, Division One's brand new football team. Now he's 5'10", redshirt junior. He rushed for 889 yards and 11 touchdowns and added 200 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. West Florida this year have left the Gulf South Conference of Division 2. They're going to the UAC in the FCS, and they've lost their star quarterback, Marcus Stokes, who got a big-time move to Memphis. So this guy is coming up to D1, big step up, but there's no starting quarterback there. It's yet to be determined, I believe. He's the only real impact returning on that roster. They've lost like 58 players to the portal, with them coming up, so they're replacing a lot of starters. This guy's got a huge opportunity to make him name for himself at the highest level of football. And he had 167 carries last season. I'd expect it to be at least 200, 220, 250 this year. They're really going to lean on him, replacing so many stars. This guy's got a chance to have a monster 1,300 rushing season in the FCS. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do in the big time now. He's making up the big jump, and I can't wait to see how the Argonauts take to life in the FCS. They were dominant at Division 2. I can't wait to see how they step up to the competition in the UAC, and if they are ready to take the FCS by storm. But it's going to be led by this man this year, and he's going to get an incredible workload. So if you hear TJ Lane's name mentioned at some point in the season, that's why. And he's leading the Argos potentially to a shock winning season, and maybe in their first chance in the FCS.
Well, now the few people who watch this show have already heard his name this year, so they've got the inside track on this kid. But you're right, West Florida have sent a ton of transfers up to the FBL. Like, when we do the previews and that pre-season, it's like West Florida transfer, West Florida transfer. They send a lot of guys up, so I'm also looking forward to seeing how they do. So yeah, TJ Lane, the West Florida Argonaut there, to keep an eye out at running back. And then my second one I've got. Now, I love Pittsburgh draft prospects, but usually I like defensive Pittsburgh draft prospects. Usually they're D tackles or they're linebackers. I have an offensive one on this year. I've got he's going to be a true sophomore. This year. I have Jakirian Turner, and this guy is potentially going to be an absolute stud this year. So obviously Desmond Reed was the whole chatter about that Pittsburgh team last year. We were expecting Desmond Reed to do big things, and he had a decent year for them, but he also struggled with injuries, and that opened the door for other players to come in and hence a true freshman, 5'9", 180 pounds. Jakirian Turner comes into this team, and as the season goes on, has a few reps, plays well, gets more reps, earns more trust with the team, and ends up basically being the starter for that team towards the end of last year. He finished his true freshman year with 140 carries for 745 yards. That's going at 5.3 yards per carry with 7 rushing touchdowns as well. And he tacked on 25 receptions for 150 yards. So overall, for a true freshman year, he had 900 yards and 7 touchdowns all purpose from scrimmage. And, reading up about him over the summer, he has bulked up, because at 5'9" you want him to be, but he's gone from 180 to 195. He's about to assume that running back 1 role in Pittsburgh because Desmond Reed is no longer on that team. This is the undisputed starter. He's had a big taste of the pie in his true freshman year. Now he's going into his true sophomore year. He's bigger, he's leaner, he's more learned, he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's coming up against. And as we've seen with Pittsburgh, they can make these running backs fly. They can produce good caliber running backs. Desmond Reed, when he was younger and healthier, was an absolute phenom in the ACC, and I'm expecting him to take that leap forward next year. And as I say, he's got a nice little receiving element to him as well. This is a good young team. Mason Heinschel, the true freshman quarterback from last year, so they had a true freshman at quarterback and running back for last year, hence why they fell off a little bit towards the end of the year. But it's a young team, an experienced team, and this offense could potentially be very fun this year. So yeah, Jakirian Turner from Pittsburgh, this is a name to keep an eye out on, especially in the ACC ranks. I think he is going to do really well, and I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on him, as I always do with Pittsburgh, but just the other side of the ball. Right, we're going to move on to receivers, and I assume when you sent me the message, when you said wide receiver 2, you mean you've got 2 receivers?
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought you said I've got a wide receiver 2, and I thought that's very specific for these things. And I thought, no, he probably means the number. Well, I'll go to you first for this because you smashed your wide receiver picks last year. So it's only right that you start first. First guy in your wide receiver room this year, right? Who should people watch next year because they're going to lead their FCS or FBS in yards?
So this player is already on draft radars. I was very surprised that he didn't declare for the draft this year. That's Ian Strong. Now, the former Rutger Scarlet Knight had 762 yards and 5 touchdowns last year. He opens this season on the Biletnikov Award list. But like I say, despite it going pro, entered the portal, he's transferred to the Cal Golden Bears. 6'4", 215, big strong figure, great outside receiver that uses the touchline very well. His good contested catches. He'll now be the leading the passing attack for a potent offense last year, led by, I'd say, a very interesting and talented young quarterback there, Sagapolo Tuele, who's now got a big-bodied target this year. He was the 22nd ranked player at wide receiving on Three's transfer portal, and also was a top 100 player portal overall when it opens. So he was a highly touted recruit when he decided that it wasn't going to go pro. I'm hoping the Cal move will do very well for him. But if he can match that or get closer to 1,000 yards this year, has got a great chance to be a day 2 draft pick in the NFL next year. He's got the size, he's got the range, he's got production. If he can do it at another school as well with another quarterback this year, I think he's going to make a great addition to a roster next year and has got a very good chance of going in, like say, rounds 4 or 5, something like that. Like say, lacks overall top speed, but makes up for that in range and physicality and working well as an X receiver on the boundary.
See, I love that call because my first receiver is very much in that mould. He's moved between power teams this year. At a slightly lesser power team, I guess, than this one, kind of moved up. Again, I'm very surprised this one didn't go to the draft. Outside receiver, big body, good at the point of the catch. Part of one of the most underrated duos of receivers last year, period, on a team which really disappointed. But he's moved from East Coast to West Coast, and my first receiver goes by the name of Ian Strong for the California Golden Bears. I think this is the first time in history.
Never picked the same player ever.
We have never ever picked the same player for one of these before, because, Ryan knows a lot more about the FCS, and I sometimes go a bit more for the group of five. I can't believe that. We've got exactly the same. But I should say that we've both spoke about him at length, and we've both really enjoyed him for a long time. I feel like I should put KJ Duff up here now, his Rutgers teammate who did stay at Rutgers, just for parity.
Yeah, I saw a ranking of a day. He was someone's number one wide receiver college in football.
Ooh, KJ Duff?
Yeah, KJ Duff was above Jeremiah Smith on someone's
podcast.
People think he is dominant and he's going to have an absolutely stellar year. I can't believe he stayed at Rutgers.
I can't either. I can't believe Rutgers had two absolute studs. I mean, actually, they got three, haven't they? They got a third one. Who's third one? I keep forgetting his name, but they had. KJ Duff is amazing. It's going to be interesting to see which one of them has the better year. I don't know who Rutgers quarterback is now, because Callie Manis has gone.
Not sure who's the projected starter currently.
As far as I'm aware, it's not someone we know about. I don't think it's a starter somewhere. Speaking of, RIP Stanford fans for having Davis Warren named as your starting quarterback for next year. You can already write this year off. He's going to absolutely tank you down there. So that is a first for our college football podcast. In 5 years of doing these lists, me and Ryan have never ever picked the same player before until now. So we're double going in on Ian Strong here from California. So he better have a bloody good year now. He's going to make us look silly. I'm about 100% certain that we're not going to agree on the second one. But just in case, where have you gone with wide receiver 2, Ryan?
I mean, he's from the FCS.
Oh, no, we're good. We're good.
If you agreed on him, then there's something spooky going on.
No, we're good.
I have got Sam Bucknell. No, I haven't. I've got Sam Milligan from Bucknell. Now, he is Sports Illustrated's fourth best returning FCS receiver this year. 6'3", 220. He is a man mountain. Had 975 yards, 10 touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, and blocked a punt for a touchdown. The guy does everything. He's actually the highest graded PFF college wide receiver returning this year. He is part of the Bucknell Bison, and he is the sole heart and soul of that offense and on special teams. He can do absolutely everything possible. He was a second team All-Patriot. Like I say, he also played rushing. He played quarterback and he played defensive back last year to cover injuries when he needs be. Like I say, he has taken snaps on all facets of the game this year and had 100-yard receiving games against Lehigh, one of the best defences in the country that went deep into the playoffs, the Richmond Spiders, and Holy Cross. He is one of the most dominating figures in FCS football last year and has got a great chance to crack 1,000 yards, double-digit touchdowns a game, and should be challenging up there to be leading potentially the FCS last year. 86.4 FF grade, 10th among wide receivers last year, and this year's the one coming back with a 70.6% contested catch rate. If you put it up 3 times that, like I say, 2/3 of the time, 3/4 of the time, he's going to get it. He is a dominant figure with a big frame, and he's got a very good chance to be a radar and a real good chance to watch. So he's going to make the West Shrine Bowl. Like I say, someone that I'd love to see at the Combine maybe in a year's time as a sleeper. But yeah, if the measurements are true and he tests well and has another star this year, then he could very well be in the FBS, if not declaring early and making his way to a post-preseason draft cycle coming to us in a year's time.
Love it. In the first 4 picks, we've got Bucknell and we got West Florida. We are really going down the rabbit hole here, but love it. 6'3", 220, that is my kind of receiver. However, I've gone a little bit smaller for my next receiver, and Ryan's going to know exactly who it is now that I've said that, and I'm being a little bit homerish here because he's going to have an absolutely wonderful season, and he's part of my wolf pack. I've got Victor Snow, and what this kid is going to do for NC State this year is going to be scary, and the ACC is going to be scared of him. But the Buffalo slot receiver for the last 2, well, he's been there for 4 years now, but he's got 2 years as a starter. It's still 2 years of eligibility. left. What he's done over the last couple of years has just been tremendous. 1,479 receiving yards and 14 touchdowns, and he's also a dual threat. They play him at running back. He's got 26 carries, for 182 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. So he is smaller. He's 5'8", and 185, I believe he was last measured in at. But when you think of what NC State did with Casey Conception just a couple of years ago, and what he's now done with first Texas A&M, and now what he's doing in Cleveland Browns training camp, by all accounts, he's absolutely slaying it. And they are, they have so many ideas for how they're using him. They're using him as a returner, as a receiver. They're using him in the backfield. It's just an absolute Swiss Army knife, and that's what Victor Snow is going to be for the Wolfpack. People will just see the size and instantly write him off, but NC State developed this type of receiver better than anybody, and he's got one of the best quarterbacks in the country in CJ Bailey throwing at him. He is a top 5 quarterback in the country. Victor Snow is going to be the guy he's looking for every single play. This guy's going to go for well over 1,000 yards this year, in my humble opinion, and I think NC State are going to get cute with him. They're going to manufacture touches for him, put the ball in his hand, and let good things happen. And I can't wait to see him in this offense. He's just going to be, for me, he's going to be one of the biggest surprises of the year for a lot of people, especially at the power level. Like, he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver for me, no doubt. But yeah, got Victor Snow there, my tiny pocket rocket from NC State, and how good he is going to be. Right, let's move it on, and we're going to tight ends. Where have you gone for tight end this year, Rye? Traditionally, you go FCS, but last year you didn't. Have we gone back FCS, or what are we doing?
I'm going true freshman. This kid's never played football yet.
Ooh.
Only true freshman got on the list. And like I said, I'm going to USC. Now, Lake McCree, their 5-year tight end, has just departed the NFL and got drafted. But they went out there and got the 5-star, number 29 player in high school, ESPN, Mark Bowman. 6'4", 245. He was a star for the Mater Dei Monarchs, one of the biggest high schools in all of football out in Cali. He had 800 receiving yards and 10 touchdowns, a couple of sacks and 4 forced fumbles in his last 2 years in high school. He was a Max Preps All-American, made the semi-finals of the Cali playoffs twice, I believe, and now comes into a team that has got Jaden Mayer at quarterback. They've just lost and like I say, Lake McCree had 450 receiving yards last year and 4 touchdowns. So there's a big gaping hole now at tight end in a team that wants to use a tight end. And I think if you're looking at a guy that could be a true all-star freshman, I think this guy might be there to do it. Mekhi Lemon's gone. Like I said, the 2 big paces in that offense have now departed, and this kid comes in straight away with a chip on his shoulder. He's got incredible size for a true kid. I think he'll fit in straight away and should work his way seamlessly into that offense, and should, like I say, could have a moderate season, or could have an absolutely stellar breakout freshman year. I think they'll work him in very quickly, and he'll prove that he belongs in that Trojans offense, which has done very well at producing good tight end play in recent years. So yeah, I think this kid's going to be a star coming out of high school. He's ranked very highly nationally at his position, but for the overall class, a lot of, like, say, 24/7 and on 3 agree when they say this might be the next big thing. So I think he's going to make a huge splash with the Trojans straight away. That is looking to, like, say, make a run this year. They've got some big 4- and 5-star freshmen coming into that team. I'm backing the Trojans this year to potentially sneak into the playoffs. I think this kid is going to help them do it.
Right, I've put a little high school marker next to him to show that these are true freshmen who haven't even seen a snap yet, because I've got one as well. So I love it though. Like I say, USC just hoping they break out this year, and they need to. Lincoln Riley needs a good year, so there's no reason why they cannot. In terms of my tight end, I've gone with a guy who about this time last year really started approaching on my radar. And I've got another Cal guy. So we've got Dorian Thomas. He is the New Mexico transfer. Yeah. He is the New Mexico transfer tight end who's gone to Cal. Had the breakout game against Michigan last year. 2 touchdown performance against them. But ended up having a really good season on a New Mexico team that was just absolutely tremendous. He himself ended up with 560 yards on 56 receptions, given that he was a given it was a redshirt sophomore, had 4 touchdowns to go with that as well, and was a really good blocker. That New Mexico offense was one of the most potent in the nation, and on the back of that, he's managed to get himself a move up into the power ranks, into the ACC. And as Ryan was saying earlier with Ian Strong, he's got a really good quarterback throwing at him. This is a really good receiving option. He's 6'4", so he's not too big, not too small. He's just in that nice sweet spot for a tight end. Going to need to be able to block it a bit more, but Cal generally like to air the ball out a lot more, so his receiving side should really come to the core, and they've been in need of a tight end for a while now. So I think he's going to slot straight into that team, and he's going to give the Bears something they've not had in a while, and just open the field up for guys like Strong and that as well, and vice versa. Guys like Ian Strong are going to go open up the field for Dorian Thomas as well to go underneath and get all those easy catches and move the chains. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him and what he can do with the Cal Golden Bears. So, 2 of their skill players on here. Dorian Thomas makes it on tight end. Right, moving on to the offensive lines. You've got 2 offensive linemen, yeah?
Yeah, I've got a tackle and a centre.
Oh, you got centre. Right, okay. Well, we can do centres first then. I should have known. Offensive centre. So, we know where we're at. Right. Being as I've got 5, I'll start with my centre. In fact, is yours a transfer centre?
No.
Right, that's fine. We've not agreed on this one here. So mine's a transfer. I've got Antony Boswell. He is the Toledo transfer. Sorry?
I was going to pick him though.
That's why I was worried. I thought, oh damn it, he's probably gonna have picked the same one. But Antony Boswell, part of the revolution that's going on at Houston. Sorry, completely lost my words there. But true freshman last year at Toledo, had an absolutely fantastic year. Apart from when he came up against Eric Hunter and the Morgan State Bears, they gave him a little bit of a rough day, and Eric Hunter put him on his ass. But apart from that, one of the best centers in the country, graded out top 5. Houston need a new center this year. Obviously, they've put tons of money into that team. Connor Weigman, and then you've got Keyshawn Henderson, the best quarterback recruit in the latest high school class there. They are primed to go and win the Big 12 this year, and they need someone under center to do that. And Boswell, he's already built like an NFL center, and I think he's just going to fit like a glove in this Houston offense, and he's going to score a lot, it's going to run a lot, it's going to get a lot of attention, and by the end of his true sophomore year, which this will be, people will be talking about him as the best center in the nation, and he'll probably be looking at declaring as a true junior. Kind of like just what Connor Lew's done. He's on that sort of trajectory right now, but he could be even better than Connor Lew. So, yeah, Antony Boswell for me, he's going to be a slam dunk pick here for Houston, the transfer, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play shortly. Who is your centre, Rye?
I've also got a centre that could declare the draft as a true junior. I've got Joshua Bates out of SMU. 6'3", 310. Last year, redshirt sophomore. All 13 games he appeared in the centre. He led the team to just 29th in the nation, which is 19 sacks given up. Like I say, it was part of a stellar unit that had 283 passing yards per game. That was 12th nationally, 2nd in conference. Played a key part in them also having 416 yards per game, which ranked them 5th in the ACC. He's 6'3", 310. Like I say, he was in the All-ACC Honourable Mention team at the end. Mid-season, he was also named on the Remington watch list, one of the best centres in the country. Enters this year with an SMU team that we both think is going to go very well in the ACC, and he's going to be a title contender. This year as a true junior. He was a previous Oklahoma Sooner where he featured in a couple of games before making the move. But I think if you're talking about an experienced guy, I think this guy here could be one of the guys that will declare and get some NFL interest at the end of this year. If SMU does that again and he has another clear year where he plays in all the games and ranks in a top 20, 30 offense nationally, guides the way with Kevin Jennings, They were a great duo last year, led a strong offense, and I expect them to do the same again this year. And SMU's primed to make a potential run at an ACC championship this season. I think Joshua Bates will be one of the reasons that leans it, and it could well be a contender for the Remington Best Centre Award as well. This time in 12 months, we could be talking about him potentially winning an award. So yeah, I think we've got a sneaky centre class coming up this time and next year.
Oh yeah, absolutely we do. It's just not, people don't focus on them until they need to, but there's such a good young class emerging here. I'm with you. Joshua Bates could be absolutely tremendous as well. And the SMU team, people fancy him. People fancy them, so we'll see what happens. But obviously having a great centre will help their cause. Right, I will get my guards out the way because you don't have any guards. The first one, I've already talked about him a bit ad nauseum, but I've got Jalen Slappy. He is the guard from the Marshall Thundering Herd, the giant guard from the Marshall Thundering Herd. And as we know, a team that loves to run the football down everyone's throats, so he's going to be a road grader when it comes to the run ball. But he's 6'4", 335 pounds. He is massive. He is built to move men, and that's what he does. He's the 2-year starting right guard for Marshall. This is going to be his 3rd year. Part of an interior that led a top 20 rushing attack last year. He has not surrendered a single sack as a starter, which is almost 800 pass protection reps at this point, and he goes into this season as a team captain on the line as well. He's got the leadership, he's got the build, he's got the dual ability when it comes to run blocking and pass protection. This is one of the most underrated guards in the game, and it's just because he's playing down in the group of 5. But another dominating year for him. If Marshall and Carlos Del Rio Wilson make it back to a Sunbelt title game, he's going to get a lot of attention put on him. He's going to be the group of 5 guy this year. You're like, yeah, he could sneakily go really high in a draft. So Jalen Slappy, massively high on him. The other one I've got, and this is one who's not played too much, but you're going to see a lot of him this year, and I love him, the build. He looks like, if you watch WWE, he looks like the kid version of Otis, and he's adorable, but he'll kill you at the same time. I've got John Mills, the guard from Washington, was a true freshman last year, and was sort of catapulted into that team through need, and as the season went on, managed to establish himself more and more, and ended up being a starter as the season came to an end. He's nicknamed Crazy Juice because he has like one of those psycho crazy personalities off the field, but when he gets on it, he just wants to hit guys. He was talking about his preseason training, and he said how much he hated the first 2 practices because he wasn't allowed to lay hands on people. And then the 3rd one he was, and he went out there and he started, he's a young kid, he's developing, but he'll go up against anyone and just absolutely give them hell. And he's going to get his first true year as a starter. I think he's the right guard there for the Huskies. And this is a team I'm keeping a very close eye on this year, because like Ryan says, they've got a good quarterback. It didn't quite happen last year, but he looks like a Lions player, and he's just like, he looks like a big teddy bear, but he will destroy anything that gets in his way. He's built huge. He's like 6'4", 330 again. I think he's got even bigger this off-season, but he's all muscle. So yeah, John Mills, the Washington Husky, the Otis clone. I'm going to be watching him specifically this year, because that is a guard prospect I'll be all over in a couple of years if the Lions need one. So those are my 2 guards. And then we'll move it to the tackles. So you have a tackle, Rye. Who have you got?
My tackle is Hall Schmidt, the former Boise State Bronco. Like you say, as a redshirt sophomore in 2024, he was a All-Mountain West player. He played in all 12 games at right tackle, and he was part of the unit that led Ashton Jeanty to that historic season. They rushed for 3,365 yards, the most in school history. He blocked for a unit that ranked 5th nationally in scoring and 8th total in overall offense. He only allowed 1 sack in 329 games. 2025, last season, 2 games in, but had a terrible injury. But at the end of that season, he decided to enter the transfer portal, and he's 6'7", 315, so he's a big boy now, redshirt junior. He's decided to play his trade at the UCLA Bruins. And who knows how better to deal with transfers, like say than Bob Chesney, Holy Cross, JMU, two winning programs that had large turnovers of players. And like you say, he's gone and done the same thing again with UCLA. Brought in a plug-and-play kid that's supposed to start straight away. He's projected starter at right tackle this year is Hall Schmidt. Nasty player in the run game, has been part of a historic offense that led the way in run game in trenches. UCLA wants to get better at running the ball. Bob Chesney is a great hire, and he's made a potential splash dunk here of a guy that can plug and play, hopefully stay healthy, shake off the rust of missing all of last season. But when he has played as a true, like say, redshirt freshman, all his games prove that he belonged to one of the best rushing offenses we've seen in college football in the last decade or two. So if this kid can do it, 6'6", 315, well built, I think Schmidt can step in straight away and hopefully provide a spark for a UCLA team that is trying to find a new identity. They cleared shop, players, coaches a lot. This is a new Bruins team, and college football is better when Bruins are better. And I'm hoping this kid's going to plug in and help Chesney straight away. He's one of my favourite coaches in the nation. And if anyone can get him to find his form from Boise State, I think it'll be him that can do it.
All right, there we go. Hall Schmidt, the UCLA Bruin tackle. And then the two tackles I've got. So this is where my high school recruit is. And you might have a guess of who this is when I talk about one team in the FBS gets true freshmen in its team better than anybody. They seem to put true freshmen in every year, and they just adapt to the league like it is no mean feat at all. This is the number one rated tackle. I believe he might even be the number one rated player in this class. All told, he is already 6'8" and 330 pounds, and he is a true freshman. He is the son of Olympic shot putters. He is, I believe, 4th on Feldman's Freaks list because this kid is just absolutely insane. And watching him practice this offseason, he looks like he's ready for the NFL, let alone college football. I have Miami's new left tackle, Jackson Cantwell. This guy is just an absolute freak of nature. To be 6'8" and 330 as a true freshman is insane. But Miami, the Hurricanes, better than anybody, get these guys ready as true freshmen to move into this team and just perform. Mark Fletcher, Malachi Tony, Ruben Bain, these kids started from day one and didn't look out of place. Cantwell is going to be the left tackle of this team for the next 3 years at least, depending on how his career goes, or for his entire career, wherever. But he moves like he's a receiver that's 6'1" and 180 pounds and, you know, can run a 40 in, 4.3 or whatever. But he does it at 6'8" and 330. They are going to go absolutely nuts with him. And I'm just... Ever since he was announced that he was going there a couple of years ago, my eye's been firmly fixed on him and his progress, and he has just dominated at every single level he's been at, and I think he's going to do exactly the same with the Hurricanes here. They've got one of the best teams going. They're probably going to be primed to try and make an appearance back at the Natty again, and I'm going to have to try and expand this a little because he's my true freshman there. But yeah, Jackson Cantwell, there's just so much to love about this kid. It's early days, he's not taken a snap yet, and this could be a massive shot in the dark if it doesn't go right. But yeah, I think he's going to be absolutely tremendous. So I've got him at tackle, and then my other tackle, I have my teams that I, religiously will go to bat for people. I know that they produce good players and high-level players, and the coaching is good. The players are going to be good. Carsten Cassidy is my second tackle. He is going to be the right tackle this year for the West Virginia Mountaineers, a team that over the years I've had very much of a soft spot for. But he's initially from UConn. He's been UConn's right tackle for the last year and a half, and you'll know how much I value Gordon Sammis and his ability to develop offensive linemen, NFL caliber offensive linemen at that program. Obviously, he's gone to lead the offense at TCU now, Carsten Cassidy chose not to go with him, but where's he going? He's going to a Rich Rodriguez team, which is going to run the football day and night. And a guy like Carsten Cassidy as a road grader, what they've done with Cam Edwards and Yukon, he is going to fit like a glove in this West Virginia team. And, kind of much like their left tackle I was enamored with a year or two ago. They developed their linemen really well. It's a shame he's not going to have the backyard brawl to fight in here, but there's plenty of good, tasty matchups for him in the Big 12. He's a big human, 6'7". Carsten Cassidy for me. He's going to absolutely thrive in this Rich Rodriguez run-based attack, and we're going to talk about him as an NFL prospect, and he's pretty good as a pass protector as well. Again, Gordon Samis is an awesome developer of these guys. He's had 3 years with him. He's ready to go, and Rich Rodriguez is just going to further that development. So Carsten Cassidy is my other tackle. Right, let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. I believe you have 2 D tackles, 2 edges, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got 4 defensive linemen as well, so we can snake these. So with you first, in whatever order you please, who have you got?
My first defensive tackle is Carson 2J. He is a sophomore from the Utah State Aggies. So I've seen a bit of him, but I follow his sister on Twitter, and she is a huge advocate for him. But as a redshirt freshman last year, he played in all 13 games. He broke the school record for the most ever tackles by a defensive tackle with 72. And that is second best also ever by a defensive lineman in school history with 72. And I believe they also led the nation by a defensive tackle with 72 tackles. Also did half sack and 4 tackles for a loss. He's 6'3", 280. He'll be a true sophomore this year, so he's got a lot of potential. He has also been listed to the Pro Football Network first team preseason Pac-12. Hey, it's a new look Pac-12. Like I say, the Utah State has been building in recent years. They've got a chance to make a name for themselves in a new conference this year. Like I say, that team's really going to get after it. Like I say, and this guy breathes football. His dad, Garrett, is the offensive lineman for the NC State Wolfpack. And it's a family of Wolfpack fans. Savannah loves them too. And his sister, Summer, is also an assistant to the head coach of Utah State. So this is a family thing. So, like I say, if he can work on rushing the passer this year, like I say, add a little bit more pressure on the quarterback, had a couple of hurries this year, but he also holds already a big score record as a sophomore. I think this kid could make a real big name for himself in the Pac-12 this year. Showed a lot, the young man, featured in all the games last year. He's definitely going to be a one to watch this year. And the Pac-12 is trying to make a name for himself. I'm hoping this guy's going to be leading from the front. Hopefully make a big play for Aggies this year. I'm sure I'll see a sit on Twitter, like I say, champion them if they do well. But he's got a bright future ahead of him. It's a big school. The Pac-12 is wide open this year, and I'm hoping he's going to lead that defensive anchor from the front this year. So I'm certainly keeping on how well he does. But iron sharpens iron, and all summer I imagine his dad has been telling him how to get better and improve. It's an O-line, D-line family, so it'd be interesting to see how they get on.
Just intriguing question here away from this. How did you end up following his sister on Instagram?
He's a Lions fan.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've never asked her, like I say, from Florida, NC State. I think she went to the Pac-12. Like I say, she's got ties to all football, but she's a Lions fan. But she's got a big advocate for him. It's a football family, so it'd be interesting to see how he gets on this year. But he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Ryan's going to be plugging the. Ryan's going to be plugging this show now. Look who I put in my defensive tackles to watch this year, Carson 2J's sister. I put in your brother. There you go.
Does well, then, we'll all be celebrating this time in 12 months.
There we go. So potential Lions connection there. I always love the Lions connection. So, we've got Carson 2J. In that case, I'll start with a defensive tackle. And this is a defensive tackle I've rolled with for 3 years now. He wasn't on my team last year, but he was on my team the year before, and he is in the Big 12 this year, and he's undersized, but he never fails to deliver. I've got Santana Hopper. I've rolled with him since his Appalachian State days. He made the move to Tulane last year, and John Sumrall had a wonderful season with them. And now he's moved again, and he's going up to the Power 4 level. And he's with Dion and Colorado, and by all accounts, they are absolutely staggered by how good he is. And, I'm not surprised. This is just... He gets slept on again. 6'2", 265. People think of that as a defensive tackle. They think he's too small. But what he does is he plays all along the line. He can play on the edge. He can play at the 3 tech. He can play at the 1. He keeps you guessing as to where he's going to go at. And he's so technically refined when it comes to his game. He is a pocket collapser. He loves getting to the quarterback. He's got 13 career sacks. He's got a ton of tackles for loss, mostly coming the last couple of years. Had some of the best coaching possible. Like I say, Tulane, John Sumrall developed all those defensive linemen at Troy, got his hands on Hopper last year. They went to the American title game. He's coming up to Colorado this year. I think he's going to have a massive year in the Big 12. Being undersized on the line in the Big 12 is it's not a bad thing. The smaller guys can succeed in this conference, and I'm just, again, 3 years, he's always shown the goods. I like defensive tackles that can collapse the pocket. I do like my run stuffers, but more importantly, I like the technical ones. His hand usage, it's violent, it's vast. He's got so many different moves at his disposal. Like, technically is how he beats you, so he negates the size disproportion that he has. So, he's going to come to the draft next year. Lord knows where he's going to be predicted in it. Obviously, he needs to have a good season with Colorado first, but if he does, I think you're going to see him sneak into day 2 conversation. People will knock him because of his size. Hell, if he bulks up a bit, 6'2" is a good size. If you want to put 20, 25 pounds on him, then potentially he'll go up a little bit, but he's great just where he is right now. As I say, if you want someone who's explosive, who's going to collapse the pocket at defensive tackle, Santana Hopper, there are not many other D tackles I'd take in college football over him. So, yeah, he is back on my list for the second time in 3 years. He's coming to the draft this year. I cannot wait to see him. Moving back over to Ryan, who have we got next on your D-line?
From one Big 12 defensive tackle to another. I mean, I've got to have a Sun Devil somewhere. I've got CJ Feeta. So the 6'2", 310-pound senior. He's probably, it's arguably the biggest, most important returner on the Sun Devils defense last year. The amount they've lost to the portal and had to swap because of their own success has been massive. And this guy actually was I forget, it was the PFF's 80th best player in the pre-draft cycle last year. He was expected to declare, didn't, has decided to return. And he's currently Dane Brugel of the Athletics' 12th best senior defensive tackle in the coming college football season and next year's draft. So the guy's got a big reputation already. He's expected to have a good year and also very firmly have his name called in next year's draft cycle. Like I say, got sacked last year, a forced fumble, had another 30 tackles. He's a very disruptive piece. Like I say, it's a depleted Sun Devils line. One of their sack leaders last year, Prince Darboe, is now declared all out of eligibility. CJ's coming back when didn't need to. He would have been drafted this year. I think they were confident, like I say, the beat writers, it would have been picked up or found as well. But he's coming back this year. Like I say, for Brian's defense, it's a big piece to get back. He wants to go out with a bang. And I think hopefully he's going to have the best statistical season that he's had in college football this year. But yeah, he's going to be a big part and he's going to come back and disrupt many Big 12 offensive lines this year and shoot up those draft board rankings, hopefully.
There we go. So CJ Feeta, the first Sun Devil on this list. Me moving across now. I've got 3 defensive ends. I've gone heavy with my defensive ends because I like them this year. And Ryan will know this first one. When I say undersized, unappreciated group of 5 defensive end, Ryan will know exactly who I mean. Plays at Nevada.
Oh, Dylan LaBarbera.
There we go. He's a ride or die. Dylan LaBarbera is. He has been now for a couple of years. I have a soft spot for that Nevada team going back to the days sort of 5-6 years ago. When they just seem to have a lot of likeable prospects there. Obviously, they've been through the wilds a bit, and not just because it's another Wolfpack team, but Dylan LaBarbera for me, 6'1", 245 pounds, so certainly undersized, kind of in that Iziro Aku mold that I really like, but he's the ultimate epitome of an ultimate warrior, going through JUCO, coming up to Nevada, and just what a season he had last year. 6.5 sacks, 17 tackles for loss, nearly 90 tackles as an edge player. Some edges don't have that in their entire career in college football. This is a guy who gets down deep and dirty. 120 tackles in his 2 seasons there, a forced fumble as well, but he is just absolutely relentless. You watch him play, the motor is phenomenal. Even, if he's not involved, the recovery, chasing back, running back, receiver screens, bits like that, you will see him, covering half the length of the field to go make a play. Like, he is the ultimate leader on a defense. That is one of the biggest things you need when you come up to the NFL as undersized. Not having the intangibles, is you've got to have that leadership, and you've got to have the motor that's just, I'm going to beat everybody else here. And I don't know how Nevada kept hold of him. The loyalty is shown to the program because they plucked him from JUCO. No one else wanted him. I do appreciate that very much about him as well. This Nevada team is slowly getting better, and I think they're due for a big year in the Mountain West, and he's going to be a big part of it. And I think he could be even better this year. You could be looking at a double-digit sack season for him, and I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. So, yeah, Dylan LaBarbera, he's one of my group of 5 ride or dies. I'll stick with him till the end, and he will probably come to the draft this year. We're probably looking day 3 regardless of how well he does because of where he's from and his size, but he will be a very interesting pass rushing prospect for people later on. This part of the country, they make him tough, and he's as tough as they come. So Dylan LaBarbera is my guy there. Who else have we got on the D-line, Rye?
Well, I've got 2 edge rushers now, and if I say the words Texas Tech, transfer, potential Big 12 new defensive lineman of the year, Big 12 new player income of the year, I'm not talking about David Baylor. I'm talking about
AJ Holmes.
Adam Trick.
Oh, damn.
He will claim all those awards next year. The 6'4", 250-pound grad transfer that's arrived from the Miami of Ohio. Like I say, last year where he had 8.5 sacks, 12.5 tackles for loss, 60 tackles, all MAC honors in 13 starts. Has got the big time move, like say, to Texas Tech to anchor that defensive line where it's just seen a huge amount of turnover because their defensive line was so good. Height gone, like say Lee Hunter gone, David Bailey gone, had to reload. So let's go get the best pass rushing outside linebacker the G5 had to offer, and they did. Adam Trick, I'm calling it now, will win Big 12 Defensive Lineman of the Year. He will win Big 12 Newcomer of the Year, like I say, and he will finish with double-digit sacks and be one of the best players in defensive football. He feels a huge need on a defensive line that's incredibly coached well, and he has got a knack for getting after the pass. The guy's nasty. And like I say, this time of the year, he will be declaring for the draft, and everyone will know his name, and he'll be a household name because of, like I say, what he's about to do. But yeah, don't get me wrong, had an absolutely stellar year. Breakout season was great for Miami, but the timing is just too perfect for him to suit up for the Red Raiders, and he's going to have a monster year.
There we go, and you nailed it with Reggie Virgil. He made the move up from the MAC to Texas Tech last year, so absolutely Adam Trick can do the same. The next defensive end I've got on my line is another ride or die ever since his true freshman year, and he's going to mile markers team this year. I did have Antony Smith on this team last year. I still believe in Antony Smith, but I've got his running mate, TJ Bush. This is the guy who started off at Liberty as a sensational true freshman, had a couple of years there, went to Cal last year, had a pretty good year, and now he's chosen to have his last year in college football with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And the reason I think he's going to be so dangerous this year is because he's playing opposite Antony Smith, who is going to be, after a 14-sack season in the Big Ten, is going to be seeing a lot of the attention on that line. They've invested well at D-tackle as well. TJ Bush is going to get a lot of opportunities to make plays, and he, quite frankly, is a game wrecker. 13 sacks, 27 tackles for loss, accumulated over 130 tackles in his career, again as a defensive end. He loves stuffing up against the run. He's 6'3", 250 pounds, so more of your traditional size, but about him, the bend is tremendous. The athleticism is tremendous. He's just got this elasticity which is able to get him around offensive tackles and towards quarterbacks and creating negative plays. He's so quick, really good athlete. Has just spent his entire career producing. He's already made the move up from the group of 5 to the power 4. I'd say he proved he could do it with California last year on a team where he didn't have anywhere near as much help on that defensive line. And now he's going to, for me, I would say Minnesota is one of the best defensive lines in the Big Ten this year. Period. I believe in him that much. With Zion Chapman and the other guys they've brought in at defensive tackle and these two on the edge, they're going to be absolute menaces. And I think TJ Bush is going to absolutely fill his basket full of sacks this year. And we're going to be talking about him as a legitimate high prospect, just like Antony Smith this year. Minnesota could have 2 very high draft picks off their defensive line. He's certainly going to be part of that conversation. So TJ Bush, another I've ridden or died with for 3 years now, his entire career. We will see this through till the end. Who is the last one you've got, Rye, on your defensive line?
I've got a pass rusher that is joining the NC State Wolfpack. So you
yes!
I've got Harvey Dyson III, the outside pass rushing linebacker, formerly of the Tulane Green Wave. He led the team in all defensive categories last year. He had 8.5 sacks. He had 2 forced fumbles and 11.5 tackles for loss. And if there's one thing that NC State doesn't do very well, it's get to the quarterback. He only had 20 sacks as a team last year for 120 yards. They did struggle when it came to get there. But this guy, 6'3", 240, he's built to be a stand-up, pass-rushing outside linebacker. He brings ferocity. He's a senior. He's very experienced. And he's going to come help a unit. Hopefully will lead the team in sacks this year. Hopefully will have a chance to make a name for himself towards the 2027 NFL draft. But brings a bit of juice that is needed on a Wolfpack team that is hopefully, like I say, got the pieces to hopefully compete and have a good season. But he's a great grad transfer to bring in that will hopefully add a spark to a defence that can use a bit more juice up front. But yeah, key member of the Green Wave for recent years, led them in stats, and hopefully it's a great grad transfer pick for them. Yeah, should have a very productive year on that defensive line.
Yeah, I love that pick. I think that's the first time you've ever picked a Wolfpack player for anything, and you've made me really proud. So, yeah, Harvey Dyson III, I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Hopefully did better than the last one who moved from that era last year. Kean Sloan, very much disappointed coming up from the Group 5. So hopefully Harvey Dyson can make up for that. Finishing off, and I'm going to stay in the ACC with you, and not my type of edge rusher usually, but this guy breaks the mold because he is big, but he's really good against the run, and it's a name you may not have heard before. I have got Fisher Kamak, and he plays for the Virginia Cavaliers, formerly before that of the UNLV Rebels. This guy is huge. He is 6'7" and 250 pounds, an absolute man mountain when it comes to the edge, but his size belies what his game is built on. An explosive first step. He's so quick out of stance, could overwhelm offensive tackles as a pass rusher, and for someone as big as him, he can attack round the edge. This is not just a brute strength guy. He can attack you round the edge. He's got the speed to do so. He's got the pass rush arsenal to be able to attack you that way, and he's got the brute strength to just bull rush straight through you. And what makes him so intriguing for a guy who's 6'7", he's an excellent run defender. As I say, he started off at UNLV back when UNLV did Brennan Marion's go-go. So when you're defended on the edge, you have to be good against the run, and he sort of grew up in that environment, and you can tell the hands are so good. Again, he uses the hands, the arm length advantage he has to get his hands on tackles and set the rep. A lot of guys who are that tall, they're susceptible to guys getting under their pads and levering them out the way. Fisher Kamak just doesn't allow that to happen to him, and he's done it successfully now over the course of his 3-year career. As I say, had a year at Virginia last year. In terms of the pass rush productivity, it is really good. 13 sacks, 23 tackles for loss. Most of them have come in the last 2 years. He's at 13 sacks and 22 tackles for loss over the last 2 seasons. 96 tackles, a couple of forced fumbles in there as well. Because again, he's built so high. You get this sort of 5'8" running back trying to hit the edge against him. He'll just absolutely banjacks them, and he's able to rip the ball out. Again, just such good hand usage. He's violent, he's nasty, but he just has this rare ability for someone of his build to have the athleticism to move like someone much smaller than him. And people don't take much attention to Virginia, but for me, I am this year. Fisher Kamak is really intriguing to me, and the more I watch, the more I like, and I'm going to be watching him very closely this year. So that is the end of my D-line. Moving on to our linebackers. You have one. We'll go to you first, and then I'll go through mine, because I've been through mine before. But who have you got at linebacker, Rye?
So my traditional inside linebacker is Ethan Weslowski, and this guy might be the best linebacker in all the G5. Now he's a de facto, like you say, North Texas, the fight in the mean green. They were stripped of all their best assets, and this guy also followed to Oklahoma State with the coach, with Mestamaker, with the running back, with the receiver. But this guy had an absolutely incredible year. 6'1", 230 senior, had 104 tackles, second team All AAC, had 9 tackles for loss, had 1.5 sacks, forced fumbles, fumble recovery, interception. But he led the AC linebackers in PFF grading in overall defense, run defense grade, and coverage grade. Of all linebackers in the conference, he led all 3 in all topping the grades. Like I say, he had the second highest linebacking grade at 91.5 in the regular season. So he topped the charts across all metrics according to them, inside linebackers in the FBS last year. Had an outstanding, and yeah, he's joining a Cowboys team that we're going to call spade a spade. Last few years has been bad. It's been leaky on defense. It's been terrible on offense. But this guy, like you say, has got a chance to come in straight away, be an immediate leader. Like you say, he's got the build to play strong safety. He's got the coverage skills, versatility to move him around. I'd expect him to call the plays and wear the green dot, because like I said, the experience he brings from North Texas and the familiarity I have with other players and coaching staff, he's going to make an immediate impact at the step up next year, and he will be making plays all over the field. And statistically and coverage grades grading out, he will continue to be one of the best linebackers in football this time next year, and we will be talking about him at taking some looks. Despite being somewhat undersized for the program, I say, he will definitely get lots of pro interest, I believe.
There we go, Ethan Weslowski, the Oklahoma State Cowboy. Have you got more than one linebacker?
That was my one. I had 2 edges and inside.
Oh no, that's fine. I thought so. Right, I'll go through my 3 then. So, a couple of years ago, you may remember I had an obsession with a UNLV linebacker who was 6'3", about 230 pounds. Absolutely loved him to death. Jackson Woodard, when he was, obviously that's not him now, but had a massive obsession with him. Crowned him and everything. Now, this year, they've got a new 6'3", 230-pound linebacker. He's a transfer from the FCS, and Ryan will know him very well. He's from Holy Cross. He goes by the name of Cam Santee, 6'3", 235 pounds, and just a monster season last year with Holy Cross. 110 total tackles, 14 tackles for a loss, 4.5 sacks, 5 pass breakups, 5 forced fumbles, led the Patriot League in tackles for loss and forced fumbles. He was 3rd in total tackles. He was 2nd nationally in forced fumbles. And he was top 25 in total tackles. This kid does it all like Jackson Woodard did. He's a blitzer. He's a good coverage linebacker. He's a good middle linebacker, and he just reminds me so much of what Woodard was a few years ago. And people know how obsessed I was with him then, but and Ryan will tell you, this Holy Cross team have produced a lot of talent which has gone on to succeed at higher levels and come up to the NFL. And you'll have seen plenty of him, right? I think him in that Mullen defense at UNLV, yeah, God, I think he's going to be lights out.
Yeah, he's a great addition. He was by far one of the best defenders in the Patriot League. Like I say, he was dominant, can do it all in the middle. I'm very surprised that he didn't end up at UCLA or GMU with their ties. Like I say, Chesney and the former staff there, they've done a great job of getting guys out of them. But yeah, it's a great fit for them. Should do very well. Dan Mullen works the portal recently better than anyone. It was a very good defense last year. Adding him in front of Jake Pope, like I say, is that spine of a team now. D line, you've got your safety, you've got your middle do it all linebacker. It's a great add, and yeah, the rich just get richer. The Rebs already look like a potential lock to be the playoff group of 5 team, and adding the best players from the portal makes most sense here. I expect him to have a huge statistical year down at the Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah, he's going to go absolutely nuts for sure. My second guy I've talked about him a little bit in this offseason already, but he is the most Detroit Lions player in college football, period. And he resides in the state of Michigan. I got Jordan Hall, the Michigan State linebacker, and when I say I love this kid, I love every single thing about him on a team which he has no right to be loyal to. This is the Michigan State Spartans defensive leader. Last year, he played with turf toe. He had an oblique injury. He eventually tore his oblique in a game against Minnesota. And you know what? He kept on playing. He didn't miss a game last season. When you talk about the heart and soul of a team, the grit factor, the determination, everything you want from a player at the next level, Jordan Hall is that. And it's just because he reminds me of the kind of player I want on the Lions side. And Michigan has had like kind of all the attention when it comes to its prospects in recent years. Michigan State has not, but Jordan Hall, 6'3", 235 pounds, basically the same build as Cam Santee. I like my linebacker. Like, that's the perfect linebacker size to weight ratio for me. He just screams future NFL defensive leader and guy who's just going to do it all. And he's fully healthy this year. Pat Fitzgerald, known for his defenses with the Northwestern teams. He's got his defensive leader here. Hopefully he can steady the ship and Jordan Hall gets a final great year before he comes to the draft. But for me, he's one of the best linebacker prospects coming up to the next draft period. And if he has a fully healthy year, doesn't need to start playing through all these injuries and that again and have any medical red flags, he is going to be one to watch for absolute damn sure. So yeah, Jordan Hall, I'm going to ride or die with there. And then the last one I have, and Ryan might agree with this here, I'm going back to the Big Ten again. I've got a transfer. I've got Owen Shambliss, the San Diego State transfer who has made his way to Nebraska. Now, Owen Shambliss is literally the epitome of a do-it-all linebacker. Again, he's got good coverage skills. He's got great skills blitzing. That San Diego State defense was an absolute monster last year, and again, he was sort of the team captain of that defense, and Nebraska have got themselves one hell of a get out the portal here. One thing they do better than anything is develop their linebackers. Defensively, they're really good, and Owen Shambliss is he could be newcomer of the year in the Big Ten and could immediately be a leader on that defense, and by all accounts, the camp he's having is tremendous, and he is going to be one of the standout linebackers in the conference this year. And again, just another one I'm really looking forward to seeing play. But it's not surprising there's so many linebackers here in the Big Ten, right? But I love Owen Shambliss. I think this just feels like one of those moves where you're like, yes, that's the perfect fit for him.
Yeah, like I said, the Big Ten has got a nice habit of building good players, especially at the linebacker position. There's been some great ones last year. Like I said, I like John Hall, definitely. He's grittiness to play through injury, and that's what the team does of him. Like I say, even when he's out there leaving it and he's playing, like say, short-handed, nursing injuries, like say, massive respect for him. And he could do so much, like say, whilst also kind of holding back and just trying to keep himself available where possible. Once you get fully fit, it can make a big chance. And Owen Shambliss, big time get for a Nebraska team that is trying to find identity on defense. Had a tremendous season last season. Really deserves a chance to show what he can do. So big get for them. Got a chance, like you say, well built, strong physicality. like I say, is able to drop back in coverage. Should be a nice addition for them, and hopefully can bring some veteran presence and calm down their defense in what's going to be a real gauntlet for Nebraska this year. Chambliss is definitely going to have his work cut out for him, but iron sharpens iron, so we're probably going to see the best of him going up against those Big Ten O lines and the running backs out of the backfield and the tight ends.
Absolutely. I think he's going to be a perfect fit there. He's going to do tremendously. But I love those three. They're just... If I get one of them next year, I'll be very, very happy. Right, let's start finishing off with the DBs now. We both have a couple of corners apiece. So, corner-wise, which direction have you gone for corner to start?
My first corner is Javion Cole, the Arizona Wildcat. Fifth year senior. He's 5'11", 185 pounds. Had a fantastic year last year. He had 4 interceptions and he was a finalist for the Big 12 newcomer finalist of the newcomer award for the Big 12 last year. He's a senior this year, had a great year, transferred in. Like I say, did really well there as a redshirt junior. Didn't see much playing time, he's bounced around before this. Like I say, had a good year as a sophomore at San Jose State. It was a Spartan. 2024, moved up to be in Texas. Didn't really work for him out there, but he decided, like I say, to then hit the portal again. Arizona last year, used that junior year, but really found his feet last year. Became a physical presence on the outside, great in run support, got a very strong nose for taking the ball away, 4 interceptions, featured in 11 games, like you say, so third team all Big 12 honours. And it's an Arizona team that is really fancied this year. Fafita's looking to go out as a swan songs, one of the best in their history. He could lead them to potential, like say, Big 12 title game this year. They're one of the dark horses, and they're bringing back their best DB after losses of Genesis Smith and guys like that last year. Like I say, it makes a very interesting guy. QB is going to go after him, so yeah, but he's proven, like I say, even he's a slender frame, he's got the ability to take the ball away and stand up against some of those bigger Big 12 threats.
You know, I'm not going to say he was part of my shortlist to put in this as well, so I'm glad I didn't, because having two there, but yeah, he is absolutely tremendous. I do agree. Javion Cole of Arizona. Weirdly enough, both my corners come from the ACC. I don't really usually pick ACC players, but I'm following another connection here from teams that I like. The first guy that I've got is Cam Chadwick, and he is playing for the Virginia Tech Hokies this year, part of the influx of people who have gone to play for James Franklin in Blacksburg, and I'm looking forward more than anyone to seeing Cam Chadwick. Where does he come from? UConn, that's right, a team that I absolutely love to watch. But Cam Chadwick was a team captain for the Huskies last year, spent his first 3 years there. He's a redshirt junior, 2 years of starting experience, but over the last 2 years he has blossomed into one of the most underappreciated corners around. 6 interceptions, 11 pass breakups. He's got 3.5 tackles for loss. He can blitz a bit as well. Nearly 120 tackles. And in terms of, it sports about a 50% completion given up ratio, but he is another who is just very technically well trained. He has been locked down for UConn, part of that massive turnaround they've had with the program there. He's built really nicely as well, 6 foot 190. Kind of just perfect for a corner there, and James Franklin, better than anyone, has spent years developing his defenders at Penn State, and it's always been a staple of what he's about. And he's now going to get a chance in the power conferences to show with his last year. Oh no, he still does have 2 years left, so could be potentially a lot there. But as I say, I reckon he might declare this year as a bit of a younger prospect, and yeah, he's a lockdown corner. A lot of quarterbacks in the ACC are going to have problems with this guy this year. He's just got that instinctive ability to know where the ball's going. He's really good at baiting you into throws and then jumping routes. Got a real high level IQ about him. And again, coming from a system that I very much trust to develop their players well, and going to a head coach who is just going to take him up to the next level. So I'm looking forward to seeing the next evolution of Cam Chadwick after his UConn days at Virginia Tech. I'm really looking forward to it. So he is my first corner there. Bouncing back across to you, Ryan. Who is your second corner?
I've got Mr. Boogie Trotter, one of the best names in college football, the Marshall Thundering Herd. He is one of the benefits of the extra eligibility year, and he's coming back for his redshirt and senior final year. And this guy stacked two of the best seasons in college football. So in 2024, he was down in the FCS at the Tennessee State University Tigers, where he had 47 tackles, 3 interceptions, 151 interception yards. Like I say, was an incredible returner as well. Made the move in 2025 to the Marshall Thundering Herd, where he also had a great year himself and actually had one of the best seasons in all of college football last year. He had 2 touchdowns off 5 interceptions, which were 133 interception yardage. Also had a forced fumble, half a sack, and 73 tackles last year. So this guy over the last 2 years might have stacked the best touchdown to interception to yardage ratio of all college football corners. When he gets the ball, he returns it a long way. And he's coming back for what will be a swan song year for the Thundering Herd in 2026 as their standout guy, maybe the best, most prominent ball hawking G5 corner in 2026. Undersized, 5'10", 190, but goes up and competes with the best of them and has absolutely no problem taking the ball away. Maybe the best ball handling skills there with the contested catch ability as well. No doubt will put up another number of yards this year. And there'll no way the NFL will be able to overlook his production if he goes out and has another year taking the ball away. Size or not, he will absolutely get a chance as a true 6th-year super senior in this time of the year. He will definitely have workouts at training camps and potentially have his name called if he goes away and takes the ball away from opposing QBs against you. I expect him to fill his boots, leave college for once and for all with minimal interceptions under his belt.
There we go. We've got Thunder and Herd players in both our lists, so Marshall team to watch this year for sure. Then going back to the ACC, my second player I've got Chris Poole, the Syracuse corner. Now, he was originally a Georgia Comet, one of those high-level guys they're able to get in. Wasn't able to break into the team there, so what did he do? He followed his defensive backs coach, Fran Brown, across the way from Georgia to Syracuse to nail down a starting job there last year and had a really good redshirt sophomore season last year on a team that was just very poor, and it was more down to the quarterback. It wasn't really down to the defense. Couldn't do much when the quarterback wasn't healthy and they weren't scoring. But for him, he made 47 tackles, 2.5 for a loss, 7 pass breakups, and he forced a fumble on the season. And the forced fumble is where you see what he's all about. This man is violent, but in a controlled, aggressive way. It was against Georgia Tech. It was a screen. He comes up and basically with one hand picks the receiver up into the air with one hand, and with the second hand rips the ball out of his hands, just really violently, like he's trying to steal candy off a child. And the ball just sort of flies to the ground, and Syracuse are able to recover it. And that kind of just tells you everything he's about. He's got high-level pedigree. Did a lot of special teams work at Georgia, working his way in, and now with his old DB coach, the guy who recruited him, the guy who knows him, he's starting to get all ACC caliber potential about him. It's going to be his second year as a starter. You've got kind of the bad year out the way. The first year, the team's hopefully going to be better this year. They've got a much better quarterback to start with. I think Chris Peel's going to be one of those who people are going to hear the name more and more and more. And like as I say, he has talent level that is far exceeds the ability of a Syracuse team, and he's just sort of hiding there in plain sight. And he's one to watch for sure. Get a few more interceptions, get a few more turnovers to go with all those pass breakups as well, and he's going to be well on his way. And he is a senior this year, so might well come to the draft, and you might well find a steal on there just because of the lack of tape on him. But 2 full seasons will be enough. I really like the kid, and I'm looking forward to seeing him again this year, and hopefully a much better Syracuse team. So we've got 2 corners from the ACC there, which I never thought would happen, but hey ho. And then we finish off with the safeties. Right, who is your safety to finish us off?
My safety is Alex McLaughlin. We've got another Washington Husky. So this will be his senior year. 6'2", 205. Now he spent 2 years making a name for himself as a star in the FCS between 2023 2024 as a Northern Arizona Lumberjack. Had 170 tackles, 6 interceptions, a shed load of forced fumbles, helped that team to an FCS first round playoff berth, was an all Big Sky player, was an all FCS American, and in 2024 hit the transfer portal, decided to take his talents last year to the University of Washington. Started slow, but 6'2", finished the season with 94 tackles, 6 passes defended, 2 interceptions, one was a touchdown, and had a fumble recover for a touchdown. But he had his big game when it mattered most. You mentioned a big performance in the Apple Cup earlier. This guy had one as well. Both his touchdowns were in the Apple Cup against Washington State. One of them was a touchdown. Made him huge name for himself in his local derby, like you say, and has got the chance to have a really good year this year. Go out on a high, make a name for himself. Hopefully, is a name to watch in later rounds in this draft class. But I'm high on Washington. I was last year. You know, I like Damon Williams. It's a team full of talent. And I hope that McLaughlin can make a name as a strong safety there to fear and strike hearts and put together another solid year taking the ball away this year. So yeah, definitely be someone to watch as a long-term starter for them this year. And hopefully a Huskies team that is going to go on, have a strong year and potentially make itself name for a strong bowl game, or even, who knows, like say, have a potential outside shot at maybe a 9-10 win season in the Big Ten and force their way into the playoff conversation. But this guy, yeah, entered the FBS last year well. Like I say, now with another year's experience, he's got a great build. He's got a chance to wrap it all up and put a nice bow in it and hopefully show more of those turnover-worthy players this year.
And what Ryan didn't mention to you there, because I knew he was going to sneak one in eventually. Another white man DBU. Always, Ryan, this one in there, isn't there? You find them better than anybody.
Yep. Like you say, it's a great year. Like you say, he's like all white long safeties. Like you say, he's got scraggly hair. Like you say, plays the game the right way. But yeah, should be another one to watch this year.
Yeah, another finalist for the Buck Buchanan as well. So, you know, guy he loves knowing guys who get to the Buck Buchanan. So yeah, Alex McLaughlin there of Washington. The safeties I've got, the first one, this might just be a me thing, and there might not be a lot of people who take a look at this guy, but it's a team that I absolutely adore and will watch a lot. I've got Nate Robinson Jr. From the UTSA Roadrunners, and now this is a transfer to them. He comes from Marist. He is 6'1", 200 pounds, and one of the big problems that UTSA have had in recent years is their spine on the road. We've kind of talked about how they've had a lot of problems when it comes to their road travels. At the Alamodome, they are untouchable. On the road, they are very much touchable, and they need to create a new spine on that defense to try and turn that round. This is where Nate Robinson comes in, another of these guys from the Pioneer League, who has just been an absolute wonderful player for Marist. He comes in, he's already taken over as a leader by all accounts in this UTSA defense, and it's all about the strength with him. He's one of those safeties. He's built like a linebacker. He can come up, play linebacker, kind of play that star hybrid role that you're kind of looking for. With Marist, 64 tackles, 1.5 for a loss, 4 interceptions, 11 pass breakups and a fumble recovery last year alone, which that kind of production for a safety is absolutely insane. But it's because his 6'1", 200-pound build, he's so athletic, but he's built really strong as well. He'll take on any running back, any big ex-receiver coming at him, and he'll just lay them flat on the ground. He's exactly what this UTSA team needs, and that's why I think he's just going to flash instantly. People are going to notice that they've got a new spine on this team. He's one of the leaders on there. He's probably going to be the overall defensive leader by the time the season is done, despite the fact that he is a transfer in. I cannot wait to see him play, and you know, I'm sure you'll be able to say, right, that Marist team, they're another, they just pump out talent to higher levels that just adapt so quickly.
Yeah, Marist football in recent years has done a very good job of being a somewhat feeder team to the higher school and the FCS. the upper echelons, and they've also had some standouts that have also gone up to the FBS. Yeah, the Red Foxes do well. They compete how they can, but like you say, their best players are ones that always unfortunately move on from them. But yeah, a great school that's good at finding talent and very good at its level. So yeah, they do well, and like I say, it's a team that is important, like you say, and hopefully, like you say, it finds a way to retain them. So players that come from there that are highly rated usually go on to be strong alumni.
They do indeed. So got kind of a strong safety there, and I've got myself a free safety as well, and I end up back where almost I nearly started. Talk about Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh defenders. Generally, you find them on the line, but this year there's a safety who has really caught my eye there. Free safety, Cruz Brookins. It sounds like a name that you kind of just make up on a dynasty challenge type thing, but Cruz Brookins he's going to be the free safety for Pittsburgh this year. He's kind of played a bit of both. He's a redshirt junior. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds. Started 8 of 10 games last year. He's been a big special teams guy as well, but 53 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, half a tackle for a loss as well. And again, he just has all the hallmarks of what this Pittsburgh defense is about. They're nasty, they're brutal, they're really good when it comes to utilizing blitz. Like I say, it's something they did a little bit more with him last year, but just they're so physical at the point of attack. And for him at free safety, he's got really good range. Again, the coverage ability is really good. As a 6 foot, 205 pounds, it's kind of a decent middleman. You can put him on the outside as a corner. He's not too clunky where you can't put him out there, so he's a little bit of a versatile weapon as well. But he just reminds me of these guys that I really enjoy, and they just know nothing except putting guys on the ground and doing it in the toughest way possible. And again, it's a system that I trust with players. He's worked his way into this team, junior this year. He's going to be the starting free safety, accepting injury, but he's had a healthy career so far. Cruz Brookins looks the part, everything you want for in a safety, and I think he has another good year. He's probably going to end up at a much bigger program to finish his collegiate career, but always keep an eye out on Pitt and that defense. It is nasty for a reason. So I'm ending up with Cruz Brookins, the Pittsburgh Panthers free safety. There we go, and I'll put that in there. And with that, there you have it. Our teams to watch for 2026. We went through our 25 teams earlier. You saw how much success we had with a lot of players who are, coming out of obscurity here. Transfers, lower level players, etc. So now you get to have a look. On Ryan's side, you've got Kiali Aryat, TJ Lane, Ian Strong, Sam Milligan, Mark Bowman, Joshua Bates, Hall Schmidt, Carson Touche, CJ Fight, Adam Trick, Harvey Dyson III, Ethan Weslowski, Javion Cole, Boogie Trotter, and Alex McLaughlin. On my side, you've got Devon Dampier, Cam Edwards, Jakirian Turner, Ian Strong. Consensus pick, so keep a look on the Strong train this year. That never ever happens. Victor Snow, Dorian Thomas, Anthony Boswell, Jalen Slappy, John Mills, Jackson Campwell, Karsten Cassidy, Santana Hopper, Dylan LaBarbera, TJ Bush, Fisher Kamak, Cam Santee, Jordan Hall, Owen Shambliss, Cam Chadwick, Chris Peel, Nate Robinson Jr., and Cruz Brookins there of Pittsburgh. But yeah, I think there's a nice spread of players there. I am feeling relatively confident now that we've kind of discussed this and gone through it.
Yeah, like I say, there's a lot of players there that have got a big chance to make the names for themselves. Like I say, the two, true freshmen. Like I say, both entering big skulls, big shoes to fill straight away. That'll be looking to make a name for themselves. Two of the highest ranked players in all of the country. Be fascinating to see how they get on, because there'll be some serious pressure on those two young men this year.
Oh, absolutely, and you never know with true freshmen, right? It's just such a it's such a crapshoot with it all. Like, they might start, they might not. You've got to look at the teams that are not scared to let them in. That's why I went with Miami. They're not scared.
I was going to add another true freshman. I was going to add Luke Waffle, the five-star. Apparently, he's absolutely dominating camp.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently he's going to step in straight away as a pass rusher for the Trojans, coming 6'5", 240. Apparently he looks the real deal, they're saying in camp already. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with straight away.
Gordon Bennett, these guys get bigger, don't they? It's absolutely
He looks
nuts.
like a full-grown man. He's like 17, 18.
Yeah, I think, but there's quite a few. I mean, the one who's obviously been generating a lot of news, obviously Savion Heiter,
Michigan.
the Michigan running back. I thought about it, and I thought, no, I'm not putting a Michigan player in there. Just like I was going to put Coy Perich in for safety, but I thought over my dead body, I'm putting a duck in there. It's just not happening.
Last week you mentioned Keelan Russell. I saw today he's expected to win the job. He's leaning easy.
I'm so happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davey O'Brien with a. People thought Austin Mack was going to get that job. I'm like, yes, first stage done. Keelan Russell wins that job. Now he's just got to play well. But you may as well. He's your 5-star recruit. Play him. Austin Mack is never going to be good, and you're going to have him for a little bit of time. So you may as well just roll with him. But yeah, Coy Perich was someone I would have put in otherwise. Obviously KJ Bolden I would have put in there as well, but people are probably fed up of hearing me talk about KJ Bolden at this point. Is there anyone else you kind of did want to put in, but you're like, well, I've mentioned him a lot, or is there anyone you felt bad leaving out?
Uh, no, I mean the cornerback, like I said, I was going to mention, but I mentioned him 2 years ago. Would have probably been John Nestor at Minnesota. Like you say, he is a pretty big name though. Like you say, he'll be definitely a name to watch going forward in the next cornerback cycle, I think.
I did think about that because he's a true junior, isn't he? So he can declare this year. I don't know. I've got Minnesota making the playoffs. Maybe if they do it, but I was with you. I did think about putting him in there as well. So he's right on the he's right on the business. I just realised I've been going forever and I've not been going through the comments. So if you've been in the
I'm
chat,
just looking at Luke Waffle's stats. True freshman, 6'6", 260. 2025, 100 tackles, 37 tackles for loss, and 23 sacks in his
good
5 year of high school.
Lord.
6'6" at 18 years old, 260 pounds.
That's an NFL build. That is literally your.
That's like Jadeveon Clowney the day he left. He got drafted.
Can you imagine being a poor freshman high school tackle going up against a 6'6", 250 pounder who's a super 5-star? No wonder he got so much stats there, but that's nuts. But I mean, it's like Jackson Campbell, 6'8" and 330, and he's not even he's not even taken a snap yet, but apparently he's breaking shot put records when he was 12 and stuff like that. He's just absolutely nuts.
His brother plays for Duke and his dad played at Duke, so look, they're probably very upset that Luke he didn't go to Duke.
Ooh, Luke Waffle. Duke could get themselves a 5-star, super 5-star edge like that. I mean, I don't know. Who would Duke's... I don't think they'd be in that conversation, do you? It's kind of like the Mannings and Ole Miss. I don't think they were ever in with a chance of getting Arch. But, sometimes legacies don't... Sometimes you do. Philip Rivers' son is coming to NC State. We got the legacy. Nebraska got Raiola. Highest ever commit. I'm just trying to think. Who is their highest ever commit at Duke? 4-star defensive end Bryce Davis. That was last year. Oh, well, maybe they could have. But only a 4-star. I thought they'd have had a 5-star in their career at least once. But I guess Duke is... Yeah, probably not.
His older brother's just a measly 6'2", 285.
6'2", 285.
His little brother.
Is his brother younger? Still in high school?
He's older. He's the one at Duke, Owen.
Yeah. Oh,
Junior. Yeah, he wails in comparison.
Yeah. Where were we? I just got to go through the comments. If you got anything you want to ask us before we get out of here, then please do. Grandeyes is in there going drum roll for the 26th list. Yes, hopefully you enjoyed that, and there's a lot more names for you to look at. Now, Justin Gassaway goes, glad I still made it in time. Fuck USC, go Irish. We've got a Notre Dame fan in the building. Ranked number 5 in the preseason polls. So lot of love for Notre Dame this year. Mile Marker goes, well, guys, it's been a day of interruptions and stress without break, but finally here. We'll watch when you upload today's show, because you made me give a damn about college football, shaking my head. Oh, sorry for making you give a damn about college football. It's kind of our job, though. Smith and Bush sounds real good. It does indeed. Give us a safety that the Lions can draft next year, end of round 1. Ew. KJ Bolden's going to go too high. If you could guarantee me KJ Bolden at the end of round 1, I'd make that pick now, but who's on the periphery for safety this year?
I mean, there's a big drop off.
There is, isn't there? I'm just trying to think.
So the big two are KJ Bolden and Tay Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Keon Sabb and Bray Hubbard, but they're like round 3 guys.
Yeah. This generational class it's sort of, yeah, it's got...
I like Valley Tui Satawala from BYU. Love him.
Yeah, isn't he hurt though? He's hurt, isn't he?
Hurt to start this year, yeah, but I think he'll come back later in the second part of the year.
It's the Bama pairing, really, isn't it? Like you said, Sabb and Hubbard, they'd be
Dylan
the ones.
Ty Benefield will be in this draft class finally.
I'll tell you, you'll know exactly who I'm on about. Former Duke safety, missed last year through injury, big school this year. Yep, Terry Moore. If Terry Moore has a good year at Ohio State, if we get Duke Terry Moore back, then he could well be in that. I mean, he could go much higher. He could go high in the first round, but I think Terry Moore would be...
Texas, it's a strong day 2 NFL safety class potential.
Yeah. I think for now, providing he gets healthy, I would say Terry Moore would be the one there. But like say Satawala would like Satawala's huge. He's like 6'4", isn't he?
215. He's built just like Kyle Hamilton.
Yeah. Maybe not as athletic, but I think they would be the ones in consideration. But it depends how bad his injury is. But if BYU make it to the championship game and into the playoffs, then it extends his season, gives him more of a chance. So that will probably be it for end of round 1 for now. Grandizer goes, no HBCU or FCS players made your list. Ryan's put a ton of excuse my language. Ryan's put a ton of FCS players. He's literally got...
Yeah, I haven't looked at HBCU, but
he's got the West Florida Argonauts in there. Like, they're a new FCS team. They were Division 2 last year, so none of that, Grandizer. None of those. And we've got FCS transfers. Nate Robinson Jr., Cam Santee, they're all FCS transfers, so we do. HBCU guys, you have to learn about them as the season goes on. But I was chatting with Gerald yesterday, and Gerald said he's going to give us a list of guys to watch, so we will have the HBCU prospects to watch this year. But I always wait for him.
A lot coming from Alabama A&M.
Yeah, Alabama A&M DBs.
North Carolina A&T.
Yeah, quarterbacks.
Yep. Like you say, got all the big teams.
Yeah, you got the got defensive linemen, offensive tackles, Howard.
A&M, the D line, the safeties.
Yeah, Florida A&M. Yeah, they're up there as well. So none as of now. I will admit, Eric Hunter was sort of the last of the lineage for the time being, but
a great NFL camp as well.
Yeah.
The Lions do very well in special teams.
Yeah, I would like to think no matter what happens with Eric Hunter now, we were justified, right, with the hype behind him. He is, by all accounts, fighting his absolute ass off to get on this team, especially special teams wise. That was going to be his way in, but he's performing very well on the field as well. So, yeah, we'll always back our HBCU guys for sure, but it's very hard to know as much about them in the off-season. You've got to wait till they start playing to see who stands out. But yeah, he's got 3 guys in there, and we've got ones in there. Nate Robinson Jr., any relation to Seahawks great Eugene Robinson? I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe. There's quite a few legacies around this year. In fact, damn it, none of the FIU DBs from last year. I should have Mr. Clark and Brian Blades and people like that. Josiah McGraw. Plenty in there. Marmarker goes, let's go Gophers, Bison, Rustlers. Grandazgo's question, no NB. What's NBCU? I assume you mean HBCU. FCS players did make the list. So, back on it. I will just quickly go through it again. So you've got TJ Lane, the West Florida Argonaut running back. You've got Kiali
Ajax, Montana QB.
Yeah, and then you've got Sam Milligan, the Bucknell Bison wide receiver as well. So that's 3 from your FCS lot there. And as I say, you've got transfers who've just come up. Cam Santi's just come up. Nate Robinson's just come up. I'm sure there's more in there as well who've been up from the FCS. So yeah, there is some, but you've got to wait and see with some of those guys, Grandizer. So we're hopefully going to talk with Zach soon. We're going to have Zach on to talk all FCS stuff before the season starts. So you'll get to know your FCS prospects from him there. We can only do so much. Between the FBS alone is tough. He goes, so no round 2 safeties, no. Question, which college is possibly not projecting a player to be on your list that you feel disappointed in that college, maybe feeling gutted? Ooh, I like that. I like that. We all do have our favourites, right? You've not got an Iowa player on there, have you, Rye?
No, not this year.
That is a shot. Are there any other teams you're surprised you've not got someone from this year who you'd usually go for?
I don't have anyone from TCU.
No, you don't, do you?
No, like I say, there's a lot of Big 12 missing. Like I say, I ain't got one from Utah. I don't have anyone from BYU.
No. Big 12 ones there. Who am I disappointed in?
I don't have anyone from Duke, and I love Duke. I like
Yeah.
Clemson. How high have I been on Clemson in recent years? Like it's in their players, but I just couldn't find anyone to put on it because they've shot me in the foot too many times.
No, you're right. I mean, a lot of the good ones we liked have sort of come out this year, haven't they? So, oh God, who's the young running back they've got who they refuse to use? He's really good.
Yeah, the 5-star from last year is that.
Oh God, what's his name? He got stuck. Yeah.
Adam Randall.
No, Adam Randall was the one that was.
I know you mean though the 5-star from last
They
year.
got the 5-star kid they should have used last year and didn't when Randall had that bad start. But yeah, Clemson are up there. Who else have I not used this year? I've used Pittsburgh. I like Pittsburgh. I used NC State. Who else have I put? Who else have I not used? Who I would? I've used Utah. Have I used Utah? No, I'm with you. I've not used Utah either. No, I have. Yes, I have. I'm looking at my wrong list. I've got Dampier. I've got the damn quarterback from there.
I have Houston winning the Big 12 and making the playoffs, but I don't have a Houston player because I just thought they've got big players that people know about. But
Yeah.
like, look to that roster, I could probably find a load of players, like I say, that are going to have absolutely massive years.
See, I would say UConn, but I've got loads of UConn transfers on mine because obviously he's gone now and Gordon Samus has gone to TCU, so everything I liked about the program has vanished. So I do have UConn transfers on there, but I don't have any current UConn players on, which is a shame. I've got Pittsburgh players on. I've got 2 Pittsburgh players on actually. So who else? I'm just trying to think. I don't think there's anyone else who's disappointed me this year. There are a lot of players I like. It's just there's only so many players you can put on here as the ones you ultimately do. But I'm surprised at some of the teams I do have on here, though. Like I have multiple players on from I've never had Michigan State players before. Never had Syracuse players before. Never had Cavaliers. Yeah. So yeah. No, it was an intriguing question. That was. Enjoyed it. I don't know if I'm not feeling gutted in anyone though. Mile Marker goes, hey, say hi to Gerald, wishing them the best. Will do. I hope to get to chat to him again at some point soon, but he is very busy with his Morgan State stuff, so we will see. Grandizer goes, question, you mentioned Xavier Alford went... No, Xavier Alford didn't go back to college, did he? Xavier Alford.
Ability.
It goes, what about his teammate Miles Rouser, the strong safety? Is Miles...
He was with the Bears last.
Oh, so he's in the NFL now.
NFL. I think he's trying to make the Chicago Bears, and I really wanted him to pick us up as a UDFA.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's Josiah McGraw now in Arizona State, the superstar FIU freshman. It's his show now. Who else is playing safety there?
I'm not entirely sure.
I know it's a battle, isn't it? At the minute, because obviously they've lost all their starters. Yeah. Anywho, right, I'm going to start just winding this down now. So if there's anything quickly you want to add in before we go, then please do so. But in terms of shows coming up,
I know who I could have put in that I didn't. Zach Lutmer.
the Iowa. Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't actually, but sometimes we're going to go out of our
Actually, the
comfort
best
zones.
white defensive back in college and a potential first round white.
Oh yeah, you still got your white DB in there. Like that's one thing that'll never change with you. I always know there will be one in there.
Actually, potential first round line safety. Zach Lutmer is projected to move to safety.
Oh, is he?
He is, I think, as a pro. Yeah.
Ah, well then, there's another name to watch out for. And we know Lions love their Hawkeyes.
Very much in the mold of the guy the Bears just took from Oregon, Dylan Theineman.
Oh, don't do that. That'll upset Poole still to this day. Losing Dylan Tyneman to in-conference rivals. So yeah, as I mentioned, other bits coming up. Saturday is the Washington Commanders preseason game, so I believe the guys will be live for that, so please do join them and watch the game along with them. Obviously the main pod will be back on Monday breaking down the Commanders game. I'm hoping maybe to get a Commanders preview in. We're just waiting to hear from Maurice, obviously one of our favourite guests on here, so if we can fit a preview in as well, we will do. And then myself and Ryan will be back with the college pod next Wednesday. Week 0 preview. We get to preview college football, which is going to be awesome. And we'll have other stuff to do as well, because there's not that many games. So so we'll need to find something else to flesh it out. As I say, I'm hoping we get to speak to Zach, our FCS Zach. So hopefully we'll be able to set something up for that.
Oh, interesting. Miles Rouser, of the players, he might be coming back to college football.
Oh, okay. So
he got a Seahawks invite. He has not signed on to the team, but he is eligible and he's entering the transfer portal as of 2 days ago.
Okay, then. So potentially Miles
Leaving the
Rouser
Seahawks and he's leaving the Sun Devils, but returning to college football potentially.
Oh, there you go then. So Miles Rouser potentially on his way back. Oh, and I should say, I'm off on Sunday. I've got a rare day off on a weekend at work, so there will be a Sunday night Q&A back to how we were doing it. So you got any questions, Lions, college, anything like that, I'll be running a stream Sunday night. So yeah, come join me for the Sunday night Q&A where I'll answer as many questions as I can. Anything else you want to mention before we get out of here, Ryan?
No. I'm just week 0 now.
Yeah, looking forward to it so much. It's going to be fun. Gonna be lots of fun. Get to see the next generation of college football players come through. We get to talk about actual games, go over what's happened. It is going to be great. Thank you to everyone who's joined this evening. Grandizer, Mile Marker, Justin Gasway was in earlier as well. Appreciate all your support. This was our 2026 season players to watch list. Go back, let us know what you think. Are there any players that you are looking out for this year? Let us know in the comments and we shall keep an eye on them for you as well. Have a wonderful day, everyone. I'm going to go and get ready for work, to work the night shift. One Pride worldwide. We shall see you soon.